Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back. I broke the video. I broke the video up top. That's what I get. There. There we go. It's unbroken. We're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. TV here. I am just having some water, but I am fresh off of working on a couple of videos, both yesterday and today for you guys. And this black box up above me is the placeholder for Vertec, should he arrive in time. He's very busy with work and everything. Cup, yes. It is. I have been slacking on the adult beverages, but don't worry. You'll start seeing some other adult beverages soon. I'm just still trying to get over being sick. I still feel like I'm a little nasally, so I wanna fix that. Did I get some sun? No, but if I look red, yeah, I'm inside, so. If it looks like I got some sun, it's natural. I'm a little flushed, I guess. But hi, welcome in. Let's see. I can keep welcoming you guys in, or I can actually just start talking. I am trying to think what to talk about. Okay, so in general, I want to talk about the live stream coming up this week. You are always nasally. Yeah. And it's going to be on the 27th. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific. And I see that there's a Lulu here. By the way, in case you guys did not know this, this Tavern Talk is an open format. It is an open invitation to you, our community. If you are feeling like you would like to come and chit chat with us in our Discord, live with everybody listening, no pressure, feel free to join us in our Discord and come be a part of the conversation between the podcasts, because we get up to some conversations, especially recently. But especially for those of you that have hung around us for a little while, we like to pull people in on Tuesdays and have a very casual chit chat, kind of like, not really round table, but like imagine you just go to a restaurant and you're hanging out and chit chatting with your friends. That's pretty much what this is. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a Ludaloo in. Hello, Ludaloo. How goes? It's difficult. What? Okay. Go play whatever game. I don't know what it is. I was distracted making sure I got your name on the screen. Any measurements of sugar that's above a teaspoon for tea is abhorrent. You don't like sugar in your tea? Okay. Very sweet tea. So Puckets or Blight, if you're watching, I mean, hell, Triple Killer, if you guys want to pop in, feel free. Just join this live stream queue. I'll pull you down. But yeah, so there's a development live stream this Friday, and their plans for what they're going to be discussing include their plans leading up to Phase 3. New content coming to Phase 3, including starting area, node, PvP, and guild system updates, as well as the econ and stat revamp. Anything... Yeah, I can't wait for the dev stream either. Anything of those kind of intrigue you that you want to talk about first? We talked at length about the econ in our Discord this morning. Okay. So what Ludaloo is saying, it's Discord, Discord specific conversations. You had to be in the Discord. High quality conspiracy theories. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say I really liked the last stream. I think the way that they formatted the last one was amazing. And I realize they can't always have those types of streams, but definitely do them more. I think the community really liked it. I saw nothing but positive feedback from that. I mean, you think that, okay, well, hold on. Intrepid, if you're watching this, I need you to realize something. I don't know if you know how nerdy your community is. Just look at Pockets, who breaks down vassalization for hours on his stream. And then a lot of us are like, not really arguing, but like debating back and forth on things for hours in private discords. Like, we want the nerdy stuff. We want the nitty gritty. Give us the deets. We like it. Some of it might go over our heads with some of like these systems in terms of like how the dynamic gridding is working. That might go over my head, but that doesn't mean I don't like to hear it. It's like hearing somebody who's passionate talk about what they're passionate about is just interesting, especially when they're more knowledgeable. At least in my opinion. Yeah, I think they're trying to balance between like those of us that have been here for a long time and those of us that are new to the community. Let us know what you think in the chat. Do you like the nitty gritty, deeper conversations like the last live stream? Or do you like the general touches? Like, I think the one before that where it was the tropics update, I believe. Let me know which one you prefer. I definitely prefer the more recent one. So with the devs, what are you hoping to hear from the devs? I mean, we just saw a huge update on the planned or like the systems that went into making the summoner. So that's at least covered for now. But what else are you hoping to hear? Maybe the vassalization? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's a very fair concern. First off, effusive mind. I'm not sure how you say that. Welcome in. Effusive Mind says, I want to hear about the PvP battlegrounds coming in phase 3 that Steven is talking about recently. Yes. That's also been another topic of debate or conversation within our Discord lately. hold up. I just realized they don't hear you. Can they hear you now?
Can
yes.
you?
Yes, you can. I've been talking to myself technically,
I bet they can't.
but I've been talking to you this whole time and nobody else hears you. So my bad, you guys.
Professional streaming. 2 days ago, I streamed a black screen for 30 minutes. And if not for a person in chat, I would not have even known that I was streaming a black screen. So it's fine.
Yeah. I saw that actually. I looked over at your stream and someone was like, hey, you're not showing your gameplay, by the way, but hey, that's pretty impressive. You're still streaming to 7 people.
I got no clue where they came from, first of all, because I usually check my viewers in Streamlabs, and it was showing the classic 2, maybe 3 that I'm used to. And then suddenly the dude from Sirocco Discord comes in and says, hey, you're somehow streaming to 7 people out of nowhere. And he tells me that I have been streaming a black screen. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Oh, I thought it was just you and an imaginary friend. Thank you, Wicked. Yeah, I like to talk to myself sometimes.
How are you sure that I am not imaginary?
Yeah, I mean, he could just be like one of the voices in my head. I mean, he's technically in my head at the moment, so.
Exactly.
But
I mean, your walls.
For the friends that missed it, what are you looking forward to for the Dev live stream? Some of the highlights.
Now I gotta remember.
You gotta do it all over again. Yes.
Nodes and other deeper systems. Bounty hunters, leveling of mobs related to node levels rather than level 50 June Dark locations and whatever. Any deeper system that we've gotten so far, because we barely have gotten any.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't remember exactly which ones we haven't heard in a while. There's, I'm sure, quite a few, but that is a great concern. Like, that's a good and fair concern, because yes, in the past, like, Intrepid has stopped talking about, TV sounds funny. Oh, wait, that's literally, hey, Pockets, why don't you get in here, nerd? Come chat.
Get in here, nerd. Because I'm not a nerd, and Chibi's nerddom has to be balanced out.
But
usually that's Vertex. Now it's got to be you.
Yeah, and then when Vertex shows up, I'll be it will be 2 to 1, and then it'll be like so much nerd happening. But yeah, I was gonna say one thing that had happened previously is that like, they had stopped talking about the crossbows, and I know this is a sore subject for a lot of our dwarves. I'm sorry, but after a while, like, we didn't hear anything about them, and then suddenly there's not really in the game, and it ended up being because of they were messing with the tech somehow, and it was breaking everything apparently, from what I recall. And that just, it's unfortunate, but it happens in development. And it's like, okay, do we take the extra time and try and figure out what the heck this is doing? Or is this just so messed up that I don't even know where to begin with this. Let's just remove it, you know? Hopefully it's a for now. Hopefully we see crossbows in the future. I don't know. That'd be kind of a nice surprise for like either a launch thing or like a DLC down the road. Like, that'd be cool. But as far as we know, they're not going to be in the game. But there's also a lot of things like bounty hunting. We haven't heard about that in a while.
In years.
And there's a variety of others. I can't really remember. But I mean, one big thing, and I still need my staff. Yes, I need a bunk people too, honestly. Give me a staff, please. I don't know. I'm actually liking the spell daggers, though. I
need my physical wand to go with my physical shield, because I want to be a tank with a wand shield, but that doesn't work right now. Steven, change it. Change it right now.
See, Pockets, this is why you should just come in and come chat
and talk
with
about
us.
It. Yes, we can argue about it, because I've had bounty hunters theories and systems for years now as well.
Yes, we've convinced him.
No, not a nerd.
Winner. Because you've also been talking about, you know, the vassalization pockets a lot. Like, we have questions. Steven, we have so many questions with vassalization. I'm not even kidding. Like, Oracle brought up a good one in Pocket Stream the other day, and it was about like what happens if 2 nodes are next to each other and they're about to be like level 3 with the vassalization. Like, will one vassalize the other and the other one gets stuck at 2? Or how do you know which ones are under the ZOI of the vassal?
From what they explained before, I believe it's whoever gets to the level that can vassalize the other one first. So if there's like 100 people in node A, 100 people in node B, they're both, let's say, like 10 XP away from becoming level 3. If one person in node A gets 10 XP towards the node A vassalizes node B. I believe that's how it works, but once Pockets comes here, he can maybe explain it better.
Oh, speaking of,
and he's already, yep.
There we go.
Pockets,
hey,
explain
Pockets. That's the first thing you see here. Pockets, explain yourself.
Okay.
And the node system.
So, yeah, actually, I can send you something too. Give me just a second.
Oh, you want me to put it on the screen?
Sure.
Okay. I'll figure that part out while you chit chat. Oh yes, this is really fun to do.
Pockets, it's now your turn to talk.
Okay.
I've talked too much.
And all the stuff I have is basically just theory crafted out my ass. So take it with a grain of salt. However, I have a pretty good understanding, and there is a difference that has changed since the note. Can I post a link as well, GB, or no?
The link to what exactly?
It's from the wiki.
Oh yeah, of course, go for it. Giving everyone the ability to use bows even weirder to me.
The node simulation stream is from 2021, and they have since changed it. And they also changed the way that vassaling works. You will only vassal 2 nodes. Now, in the node simulation stream, if you watch it slow enough and you nerd out over it, at level 1, it locks 2 neighboring nodes, and the word neighboring is effectively adjacent. However, if there are 2 nodes that are close to a node and the closest one is not directly touching but just beyond, it can vassal the first node that's adjacent to it and then the one just beyond it. And then at level 2, that's when it used to gain its 3rd vassal, and it would have 1 node that would vassal 3 different nodes. Oh, sorry. I used the word vassal, and I shouldn't use the word vassal. At level 1, it locks out the other nodes. You do not technically vassal until you're a level 3 node. And what I think the difference in that wording is, because you do lock out according to the node simulation stream. And you have a line that makes it so that it blocks the progression of those neighboring nodes. But vassalship does not happen until level 3. And I think the difference in the word between lockout and vassal actually has to do with gaining and siphoning experience and responsibility of the parent node as well. And so you have those 2 things that are going. So what this picture that you see here is my theory craft of what I think happens. At level 1, and this is once they reach the tier 4 node, I actually have this for like what it would be at level 1, what it would be like at level 2, what it would be like at level 3. I also have it for if at level 1 you lock out 2 nodes instantly, but I don't think that's the case. I think at level 1 in phase 3, you are going to lock out 1 neighboring node, and then once you hit level 2, you will lock out your 2nd neighboring node. And so I believe that this is going to be what we are capable of having at phase 3. Hold on just a second.
So for those that are curious or that are new, because we had some new people, I mean, Pockets, you've also had some new people come in. What exactly is the weight of having a level 4 node, and what does that mean for all the other nodes? Welcome in, Fair. Because right now, he left us, yeah. Right now, vassalization is not incorrectly, but if it were, a lot of the level 3 nodes, not every node would be level 3. The way that it currently is, not only on PTR when they upgrade them, but also
Yeah,
on the live servers.
If they implement full lockouts and vassalization, yeah, we would have a completely different map. Like, completely different. Like, holy hell.
I'm back, by the way. I
Welcome back.
also think, like, you'll notice down in the desert, I have one of them that only goes to level 4, or only to level 3, and it has a level 2 that's underneath of it.
Let me see if I can get this in a bigger one.
If you do not have enough lockouts or enough vassals underneath you, you won't be able to progress to level 4. And so I believe that this is going to be really close to what the system is. I also have one down in the June Darks as well, that it's a level 3 node, but it doesn't have enough underneath of it that it can't progress up to that level 4. And this is where like the supply and demand or the competition comes from, that if you want to be that parent node, you want to be that metro and stuff, you're going to have to fight early, and you're going to have those underneath you that actually are vassaled from you.
Right now, I feel like the only level 4 node that could even theoretically survive would be someone in the northeastern parts of Riverlands, because those are the only places with really good dungeons and POIs and whatever. So there would be a constant churn of people going through those areas and giving XP to the nodes. Otherwise, I do not really foresee any other node outside of that surviving. I mean, if they implement decay. So if we don't have no decay, then what does it even matter?
Well, yeah. I do think that even without decay, if you don't have enough underneath you, you can't continue to progress. And so, like, even without decay, I don't think that that's the case.
I'm gonna change over for this.
Why though? Why won't you be able to not progress if we don't have decay?
Because
your XP wouldn't go down.
No. So if the node that you are vassaled by is level 4, the highest you can reach is level 3.
In terms of that, yeah.
Yeah, and so like there are going to be level 1 and level 0 and level 2 nodes. There are going to be those nodes because they are vassaled, and there's just not the upward progression that they're able to hit. They're not able to hit Metropolis, and so like there will be these under level nodes that cannot progress. And so now I also think that if they put in the node vassaling system, they also have to have the destruction system of the siege. Or what you're talking about eventually is going to happen, where they're just going to have a static server and nothing can change. And so I actually think they should implement the destruction as well, as much as that would sadden me if my node got destroyed. But and everything just got destroyed after that. So
I look like oh no. Sorry, Duffel says,
shot, yes.
Apparently I look like I need a shot. I'm scared about what that means.
Nah, Chibi's just concentrated listening to Pocket's knowledge. That's it.
I am, and I got his thing a little bit higher, but also, hold on, I'm gonna bring in a Vertec. It might mess up some stuff. We'll see.
Oh my god, it's the man himself.
Is the Vertec himself.
Do you remember we decay to full level 1 destruction right as the node decays, or do we de-level through
we're
decay?
In chat. Come find us.
Ooh.
Sorry, not trying to overtalk you. I was talking to Vertec.
No. Just bring him into the conversation, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to. He's getting over to Discord right now.
Pockets, answer me.
Sorry, I was answering Duffel's. What'd you say?
Decay, does it de-level a node or does it destroy it to level 1? I forget.
I actually have no idea about the decay system.
I'll go look it up right now.
It's also a really old thing, so I've not done.
I mean, yeah, it's even more ancient than bounty hunting, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the bounty hunter system theory craft that I have as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I believe that once the bounty hunter system is implemented, no combatant or non-combatant will be able to see a corrupted player on your minimap. I believe.
Well, that's how it's supposed to be and how they promised it to be.
I believe that if you see a corrupted player like on your screen in front of your character, you're free to kill them, and that's fine. I believe that only the bounty hunters will have the corrupted player on the minimap, and I believe the bounty hunters will have a heat map, like a red area that they can see, like within an area around them. They can see where the bounty hunter is at, or like in the area that the bounty or that the corrupted player is at. And so,
That's
like,
not theory crafting, though. Come on, you gotta pump those numbers up.
I
That's known information from
So,
Intrepid pockets. Come on, that's on the wiki.
See, this is why you claim that I'm a bigger nerd than you, Lulu, and yet you know something that I don't. Where's that at?
Go just into Bounty Hunters and you'll see does
begin.
Basically.
Yes. Except I'm not a nerd, so I just have knowledge that I can't forget. It's a curse. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not a nerd though. But yeah, it's
Quick,
I believe
how's this mic sounding, by the way? I have a really interesting audio setup at the moment.
It sounds pretty good to me.
just fine. Yep.
Okay. Good.
Just fine.
So I know that the bounty hunter will be able to locate on the map. But
they have a trackable ability that they got to toggle. I believe they have argued about whether to have it toggleable only in the node or anywhere, if I recall correctly. And then once the ability is toggled, they can see corrupted players on the map. I don't think they've gone directly into the implementation of how you would see them. Either it's an area on the map like a little circle, or it's directly seeing the corrupted player there. But I would agree with you that it should be a circle, simply because I do want corrupted players to have a chance to escape the bounty hunters, because I'm all about that cat and mouse chase, while some PvPers just want to freaking gank and kill people without any repercussions. But that's a whole other terrain that I will not go into.
I actually would like to see them implement the bounty hunter relatively early, because that gives all the people that want that PvP loop a really easy way to kind of be able to do it. And I think that right now, one of the reasons why the corruption system feels so bad is absolutely everybody can see them. And it's not just the people that want to PvP can see them, everybody can see them. And so it feels like it's pretty damn near impossible to avoid that. I would also like to see, and I don't know how you really do this in such a way, I would like to see a way for them to be able to, like, there are systems that are in the game, and us players have found a lot of ways to skirt these systems. I would like to see a way for you not to just be able to die and regain your body. I would like to see something else happen within that system, but I don't know how they could do that easily and effectively and make it work in the short term.
So
regain your body, or did I mishear you?
Like, so like right now, the easiest way to avoid corruption is to go corrupt and then have your friends kill you, or like a mob kill you, and then your friends pick up your shit and then you save your stuff. And like, it either feels that it is incredibly punishing because that you almost always drop your stuff, or it feels easily skirtable that you don't have to worry about. Yeah, abusable. Yeah.
I made a suggestion like 2 years ago at this point, I think, about bags. The PKers should have bags that grab the loot of their victims if they do pick up bags, and then that's the bag that drops on their death. And first of all, second of all, only bounty hunters should be able to loot the PKers. And ideally and perfectly, if the bounty hunter doesn't return the dropped loot to the bounty hunter system for his own rewards in his own system, he can no longer be bounty hunter, at least for like, let's say, a week or so or about that. So if you decide that your friend is a bounty hunter and you are a career PKer, and your friend just keeps killing you as the bounty hunter, but he then doesn't return the loot, or even your loot doesn't give up to the system, he should no longer be bounty hunting, and then he can't pick up your shit. I feel like that could at least address some of the issues, at least from what I've thought about the overall system. But again, we got no info on bounty hunting. We've got a ton of issues with corruption that still have to be resolved. And instead of implementing or thinking or talking even about all of that, Steven decided to just give PvPers more lawless zones. Hooray! Hooray for laziness.
I don't like the idea of adding lawless zones in.
Yes, same.
I think they should keep them as it is. And I kind of showed on my stream that I had yesterday that you can actually find PvP anywhere you want. It takes minimal amount of work for you to find people that are willing to PvP. And like if you have 20 people that are all flagged, yes, the group of 5 are probably not going to flag up and fight you. However, if you are 2 people that are flagged, the group of 5 will probably fight you. You're going to get your PvP, and it's going to be very, very, like, it may feel unbalanced, but if you do a group of 5 versus 5, there's a chance they fight you, but there's a chance they just beat you out in PvE. And I think that's intended how the system's supposed to be, that you're supposed to be able to not just
Contest
murder hobo
content.
people, but
Yes.
like they can choose, do I beat you in PvE? Do I beat you in PvP? If it is worth the squeeze, they might try and PvP you. You know, if they think, okay, I think I have an advantage here, this is where I will start to do, you know, like, and so like you kind of gotta weigh your options, and that's why I think it is a PvX game. However,
But see,
guys in my
Pocket,
guilds have said that that's not PvX, so I don't know. I don't know.
No, they don't know what they're talking about. See, Pockets, you're just thinking in too much of a fair way. The gankers that are complaining and they're asking for lawless zones just want to gank solo players, or just want to mess with the parties that have no interest in PvPing at all. And so they just run up to people. They usually play on rogues because they can be stealthed, they can backstab clerics, they can pull mobs onto people or onto whole parties, and then they say, "Oh, I'm such cool PvPer, I killed an entire party, woohoo," although they barely did anything. Those are the PvPers that are crying right now about the lawless zones. Those are the shittiest people. They got nothing to do with PvX. They got nothing to do with other better systems. Oh, I shall not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of the things you said there to improve the bounty hunter system would be pretty nifty, but I don't know. I still think that, and maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but I think more than just the bounty hunters should be able to loot corrupted players. Even if the bounty hunter is the one that kills them, it should time out, and anybody should be able to pick that up.
Yeah, like
that could be subject to testing.
But yeah, to further give out the point from Pockets, Pockets actually did a whole stream yesterday. I had asked Pockets to go find me oozes in the Jundark because I heard that there were oozes in the Jundark after I did some research for things and stuff. Subscribers know.
Things and stuff.
But he literally named his title, like the title of his stream. The what was it? The Tavern Keeper gave me a quest or something.
Yep. And I reached out to Peon to let him know that I'm going to be trying to get a quest from him as well.
That's funny.
And so like I'm actually going to try and do this again, like where I get quests that are given from other players. And so like I think it'd be really interesting for like actually content creation to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the way that this happened is Pockets is level 25, I am level 12. Jundark is the Jundark. I can't go there yet. So I was like, hey, could you help me? And he was like, sure. So he goes out. Well, long story short, he's fast forward a bit and he ends up running a caravan. And before he ran the caravan, he actually initiated PvP out in the Jundark. And then, you know, it was like 3v1. So he got his butt handed to him. But he fast traveled back to Winstead, I believe, and then got a caravan going. And then next thing I know, I look up and he's got an army of like level 1s around his caravan. And he's like calling out in like the chat for like people to come fight them.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, it was actually so good because like there was a point where one of the people, like it was a newbie, he doesn't know the game, he doesn't know the flagging system, he doesn't know the event system. And I noticed, thank you, Duffles! Now I won't be able to use my Prime and I'm probably going to get offset like I did before.
Duffles,
but thank you.
Thank you.
But there was a point where I had
Cheers.
like 8 defenders of my caravan, and there was just some random guy, non-combatant, that was just riding past on his mount, and one of my defenders just started laying into him. And like it was probably like a level 17, he probably didn't take any damage, but one of my defenders started to attack, and I was like, oh, be careful of the bloodlust. And his name was Grins. I was like, be careful of the bloodlust, Grins. If you attack this non-combatant player, you will become corrupt and you may drop your gear. And so like all of this, like I was actually like educating and teaching about the flagging system and the event system for all of these new guys that were in. It was incredibly fun, and I definitely want to do that again. It was awesome.
Yeah. And
oh damn, I didn't preload a drink. I'll be right back.
Oh no. Thank you so much, Duffels, for gifting it to Pockets. Pockets is one of our favorites. And this is far from the last time we're having content together. But one thing I wanted to say, going back to the node atrophy, it wasn't called, I had to look around a little bit, it didn't call it decay, it called it atrophy. And it says that it's based on the stage of a node, and it's subtracted from the total experience nodes gain each day. Any deficit remaining can lead to services within the node being progressively diminished or disabled. And the question was, what are the systems for node atrophy, and will materials be required for upkeep? The answer from Steven from 2024 was node atrophy, again, is another system that we quite haven't implemented yet. However, what's intended for that system is as players participate in doing things that build up a node, whether that be participating in experience gain or fights around the city, acquiring resources, interacting with the services of the city, whatever it is, if players do less and less of that over time, the experience of the node will start to degrade. Services within the node may start to become inactive. You may start to get certain buildings that become inaccessible as a result of the atrophy type system, which again will just continue to perpetuate the already existing problem, which is player traffic and activity within the node, making it weaker and more susceptible to potential siege, which is the way by which we remove nodes from the world. Node atrophy does not de-level or destroy nodes, but it makes them more vulnerable to player-initiated node sieges. Previous design concepts were that the nodes would de-level or even disappear based on accumulated atrophy. So it sounds like that changed in September of last year.
I see.
So is the atrophy
Yet
more
another
for
change.
like if a mega guild comes in and then the mega guild just kind of disappears, that's when atrophy sets in, but it's not like a decay that will happen consistently?
It's basically... Go ahead, sorry.
Say. No, say.
I think it's pretty much if you stop progressing that node. Like, I imagine in my mind the scenario of you first start in Lion's Hold, because I know all the nodes are on Lion's Hold. You go off to Jova and you start progressing Jova, but your end goal as a player base is maybe to get out further, so you go down to the Gendarch. As Jova stops being kind of visited and quested in, it will start to get that node atrophy. And over time, if people aren't careful, if you don't watch where you keep your materials, if you left your materials in Jova, it is more susceptible to a node siege, which means that its defenses would be weakened. And that means you could lose your stuff from a successful siege because it's a easier siege.
This is also where I feel that you want to give player agency to the players, that if you are vassaled by somebody, you cannot attack that parent node, but you can sustain or abstain from defense of that node. And you can, like, just like you can do in PvP, where you make it uncomfortable for somebody else around you and either force them out, force yourself into a farm position, the same kind of thing. You can make it uncomfortable for the node that you are vassaled under. Like, for instance, like, you could go to that node and actually deforest their node trees, and so their spawning of their trees is actually inhibited. You can make it uncomfortable. Even though you got beat out and you are vassaled, you can actually do things to kind of sabotage and to make it uncomfortable for that parent node, and then allow for other nodes to actually siege that node. And so that it actually gives incentive to the parent nodes to actually appease those that they are vassaled. And so it should be more of like a symbiotic relationship between the nodes that are in a vassal system. And so you're not only trying to maintain the happiness of your own citizens, but you're also, all the people that are under your rule effectively, you're also trying to appease them as well. and I kind of like that system. But like the way that some of our phases have gone, I don't know if I'm being too idealistic.
Yeah.
As idealistic as Steven is being with this system, even though I also want and believe in this system, I do think that players will break it to 10 ways to Sunday.
I will say,
Well,
and
hopefully
I've
it
told
happens
Lulu
sooner
this-
rather than later. The sooner
Yes.
they break
I mean,
it,
yeah.
the sooner that things can be done.
I have faith in
not
the
sure if
EU
they
people
can be
because
done.
they understand how to protect systems.
Yes.
I experienced that the other day, and I really appreciate that about the EU guys.
What do you mean?
You on top?
So my caravan that I ran empty, I got killed within 3 minutes of starting that caravan by an EU player, and he actually messaged me and said, "Come back, I'm not destroying the caravan." And I honestly didn't carry the weight. It was a 267. There was nothing in it. Like I had no value in it, but he just wanted a PvP. And the idea of letting the small fish go so that you protect the system. If you destroy every single caravan you see, you're going to destroy your own content. And that's the reason why nobody's running caravans, is because every caravan that gets ran is destroyed. It happened later. That was Viridium EDU, maybe. I think that was the guild. And then I saw like 3 more of their players that also, I guess, would have done the exact same thing. But I think they already knew that I was doing it as a test. And then later, I was going past Joeva Stack Stones, and I heard people scrimming over there. And the guy that was helping me escort said, "Be careful. I think you don't want to go through the Stack Stones." I go, "Can you go check the guilds that are there?" And they said it was on holiday. And so I actually did a direct 90-degree turn, and I intentionally went through the Stack Stones. And there was 20 on holiday there. They killed me. I got out to defend my caravan. They killed me, and they said, "Come back and get your caravan." And like they understand how to protect a system. They don't overfarm that content, and that's what I appreciate about that.
Exactly, because we've played these games before. We know how they work. Unlike the WoW players from the Americas that think that genociding the entire population of the opposite faction is somehow beneficial to the game. Which got their own game to a point where those factions are now friends and kiss each other in the dark corners.
Yeah, since it came up in chat there, might be a decent time to remind folks that on Sunday we're going to have our unofficial content creator summit. In past, we've tried to do these quarterly. However, the hurricanes last year kind of messed us up a little bit, threw us off course, and we did some recovery during the early part of this year. But we're getting back on it. And the topic of the econ stream, I mean, it's possible it might come up. We're going to be taking viewer questions.
Yeah.
So feel free to bring them up, join chat, and pose that question. It may get voted in. Viewers are going to pose questions and then vote on which ones they want to see answered and talked about.
I will say it is not necessarily going to be the focus of the stream, but if you ever want to redeem it, it's not currently available for you to redeem right now while we're live because we have that, I believe, turned off. You can verify maybe for me, Vertec. But there will be a special redeem that's only turned on for that, and you ask a question, and the bot will grab that question, shove it in a text file for me, and then at a certain point during the day, I will copy all of the questions asked thus far and put them into a poll and send you guys back the straw poll for you to vote on which questions you want to hear most. And we actually have Pockets joining us for this one.
Woot.
Nerd.
Let me get this this up here. Special events, summits. Yeah, I'll put this up here for you guys to see. So, oops, very large, but yep, this is what we got. We have Thogly, Lloyd, Peon, Burns, Pockets, and Yokai. So if you have missed our announcements, that is what is coming up soon. So I'm very, very excited. But I am feeling really, really, really interested in like the econ updates and stuff like that. We know Rhett last month, Rhett was one of the, actually not one of the, he was one of the people on the stream, but are subscribers still voting on the last 3? Currently, yes, there is 24 hours left for that. pockets. So if you are a subscriber and you are in our Discord, if you're not in our Discord, you're missing out on like a lot of subscriber content. There's a lot of stuff that's specifically for you guys within our Discord.
A streamer with actual purposes to subscribers, like that's actually rewarding. Yes.
I feel so bad because I'm like pinging at midnight because I'm still awake and I'm still working on something, and I'm like, one more ping, sorry.
We're working on.
Yeah.
We need help, guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys definitely, you really adjust what kind of content we make here on the podcast. You don't realize you can, but you can a lot.
And just, that the subscriber thing comes through from Twitch. It comes through Patreon. I think we have that connected up. And
Yes.
Discord subs also.
Yes, so it automatically connects all of the subs. Give me a second. Let me catch up on chat because I think I missed something.
Do not catch up on chat.
Game's current state, adding lawless zones over implementing a bounty hunter system from Bastilda. So it's not all lawless PvP. We're from Griefers. We had a lot of fun group contesting named farm spots, reducing friction for PvP. I think it's a net positive, especially in a test environment. Seeing Flanker bring a caravan into Steel Bloom didn't feel like intended system implement. Did he actually bring it straight into Steel Bloom? That's kind of funny.
Several attempts from them to bring a caravan into a proper contested location to have proper PvP. But again, the American players rejected that because, oh my god, the EU people are too strong, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a great place to bring a caravan, but hey, if it's open world, you're opening it up for that. I'm just saying, if the caravan fits, it sits. But I'm just
say it.
I was just gonna say, I also think that we have these open world battle grounds that are coming, and the idea is for it to be I feel like I'm yelling. Sorry. The idea is for it to be like a consensual lawless area almost. So basically there'll be enough heads up notice that there's this battleground area opening somewhere, and you'll have the ability to somehow opt in or out of it. And I like that a lot. I think that's kind of in a way how the lawless zone currently, well, not currently is, but is intended on being, where as you're running, up to the beach and you're getting closer to the water's edge for the lawless zone, there's supposed to be a countdown on your timer, like on your screen, that says you're entering the lawless zone. You will be auto-flagged in and then countdown, essentially. Not verbatim, but the general idea. So that gives you, the player, enough information to go, oh, if I don't want to enter this lawless zone and be flagged for PvP, I should probably go the other direction. And so I think as long as these things are in place for like lawless areas, I'm okay with them. Just as long as they're not taking over like all of the PvE places. If it's like one PvE place once in a while, because he did mention bosses were a part of this, I don't mind. And hey, I might even decide as a group, because in a way that's group PvP content, I might even decide as a group with our guild, let's go try that. Let's go do that together and see how well we can defeat this boss or like die trying.
So you said that they seem to be like, okay, so when he said open world PvP battlegrounds, I actually expected like in Wrath of the Lich King what WoW did. I don't remember what it was called, but like the way you said it actually sounds more like like the tree chopping from like a guild war. And it would actually be really interesting for them to utilize their heat map of where players are at. And if like this is actually just Steven loving the soft friction, where he sees like tons of groups are, competing, be like, well, let's actually add a little bit of soft friction here. And so like if Steel Bloom is over farmed like what it was, and you had like huge like raids that were going in and effectively like overtaking the entire thing, by creating it into a PvP zone, the people that want to do that and want that safe farm spot, it actually kind of, Wintergrass, that's what it was, thank you. they people that want that safe farm spot and that consistent thing will actually, the ones that don't want to PvP will actually look other places. And so like I actually kind of like that it's variable, and it's like I didn't think that it would be, I was thinking to be in one singular spot, that's where the battleground was going to be, but I actually like that if it's like changing and dynamic
Yeah.
like I would like that.
So real quick, I'll pull up a couple of Steven quotes for you guys. First off, he was responding to TM from Polar saying, that the systems like that would be massive for fun levels. Not sure if there's any talk about this, but would it really fill the loop of a reason to buy a ship or go fishing, etc. And Steven says that is part of the crate work. Relics will be crates, certain rare resources in PvP battlegrounds will be crates, and deep sea fishing will be crates. And there's a new thing, like crates is the new thing that Steven's also talking a lot about, that we're all like, what's this? What is crates? What's happening? Tell us more, please. He said there are systems that are intended to allow for PvP in different ways. Sieges, wars, open world battlegrounds, and lawless territories are all examples of that. But a mayor cannot declare an area as an open PvP zone. They can have a hand in node or guild war declarations or sieges. And then I'm going backwards because he answered my question on this at one point. But he said that he's asked the systems and world team to investigate standing up their open world battlegrounds feature for phase 3. And this includes areas in the world that can flip to lawless, quote unquote lawless, with the advance notice and incentives. And I had asked him, let me see, it's probably gonna be faster if I just search me. So I said, were open world battlegrounds always intended to be lawless? Because he put lawless. And also this is a new thing that, again, I'm not really into PvP. So before when he talked about this, it probably went straight over my head. I didn't even pay any attention, like a lot of things that I wasn't interested in back then. But he said they were always intended to be open flagged. Lawless is a term happened when we made the revision to the OpenSea designs. So that is what I know about the open world battleground and the flagging system for that.
Except pretty much never before have they talked about the mechanics of the current lawless zones. Because before, the battlegrounds were wars, sieges, caravans, pretty much any opt-in PvP event. And at that point, yes, when you opt in, you become a flagged person to the other person that opt in on the opposite side of you. That would have been a battleground. That would have been a completely, constantly moving and shifting encounter of people across potentially the entire goddamn realm. Because a guild war between two guilds on the opposite sides of the map could have spread out throughout the entire map, because they would be contesting a ton of places. That's the fun PvP that I have enjoyed in L2 for over a decade. While the lawless zone is just a little damn circle with supposedly high-value PvE inside of it, although high-value rewards for whatever PvE there is there. And then people can just come there and they immediately become flagged as soon as they enter the zone. One might say, yeah, well, that's you opting into the PvP, but then you didn't really opt into PvP. You were pushed into it because there's some high value reward behind it. And then this would usually be argued by Steven that this is the risk and the reward and they are so high and all. But then my usual question is, where exactly is the risk for the stronger guild or group of people that bring like their entire Zerg there and then can control the zone without any issues or corruption or paying for the wars or sieges or anything? Where is the risk to them? That's my problem with lawless zones. They are just genocidal little areas.
Well, that's also, a conversation I brought up the other day is also like, why does PvP always have to be the risk in risk versus reward? Why can't there be some interesting things like, let's say there's corrupted enemies, right? Like corrupted mobs, and the corrupted mobs, when they kill you, you end up, for one, gaining a touch of corruption yourself, like not enough to go corrupt and turn red, but you start edging that direction, right? And then also you don't respawn at a normal Ember Spring. You spawn at a corrupted Ember Spring within that area. So you don't get to go back to a safe zone. You start in a fairly dangerous zone if you die to a corrupted enemy. Like something like that. Like that's actual like PvE risk for PvE reward.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It could end up like
There's a ton of such mechanics and systems that could be implemented, all of which are way more interesting than here's the circle where you can kill anyone you want without any drawback.
Yeah, and I'll be honest,
clapping and woohooing for the laziness.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, the randomly spawning lawless zone around a world boss, I'm gonna possibly be really not happy with that system if they do it for more than maybe like 2 things in the world. Like, you know, the giant, let's say there's a huge mammoth spider boss thing that's like the world boss.
I'm terrified
like,
of what a
cool.
mammoth
Like,
spider looks like.
Like, I don't know, like something giant and friggin' scary, and it's gonna take like 3, 4, 5 hours worth of fighting people and the boss in order to slay it. Like that, sure, turn that into a lawless and make sure people are purposely having to cooperate. But then again, if that's lawless,
random as well. I think it should be like a 20% chance that it's PvP and like 20% chance it's not, and like that kind of like just random. Like you don't know that you're preparing for a PvP zone to pop up there, and you don't know like. And I would like for it to be like.
See, but I don't like that
within Steelbloom and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all. I like to be able to plan for what you're doing, and if you just can't plan because it's randomly going to be, because let's say there is a giant spider boss, right? And it's so powerful that you need to bring multiple raids. If it turns lawless, both those raids are going to get wrecked, right? Because they're going to be accidentally hurting each other.
Yep.
Like it's going to be everyone's flagged and everyone's all jacked up.
And not just that, the political
like,
movement is also in trouble.
Yeah, like that, and also like when the entire game becomes PvP, then it's not PvX anymore. It really is not. So if there's too many lawless zones just springing up again randomly, like it doesn't spawn until a high value target pops up, right? So someone could be over there just minding their own business, mining away, just gathering things, trying to level up from level 6 by killing random mobs, right? And then suddenly it's a lawless zone and they get run over. And then they respawn in an Ember Spring inside the lawless zone and they get run over again. And they respawn at the same thing and they get run over again.
Yeah. Or even worse, the lawless zone itself is the thing that's spawning the high-value target. Because that's by default a PvP event rather than a PvE or PvX event. Because you first created the PvP zone and then you gave people the reason to just PvP there.
The other thing that I would actually like to see, and I think that they do this already very well, they do things that incentivize players that don't normally do the loops that like they normally have a singular loop that they want to do, right? Like the PvPers only want to PvP. But like one of the things that it actually does right now with the systems that we have as they are implemented, and there are plenty of systems for this, like they have a PvE system that actually gives those PvPers a PvP location, and that it actually like the way that the game and the systems they have, it incentivizes people that don't normally do certain loops to dabble in these other systems. And so maybe for like in order for there to be so many lawless zones popping up, there's actually like a PvE aspect that actually has to build to create those kind of lawless zones. That would be kind of, I don't know why you would necessarily implement that, and I don't think that's going to come in alpha or anything like that. But I actually feel that like with the systems that we have at right now, there's so much in this game that actually allows people to do their loops, but they don't understand how to really interact with those loops in the right way. And so they feel that the system is broken instead.
But you see, Pockets, the entire thing that you are talking about is the corruption system. It is literally the whole premise of the corruption system. And not only that, but Steven's changes to the L2's corruption system were meant to push people in even more into trying to PvP if they get attacked. Because in L2, you at best only just lost less XP on death if you flagged up. While in Ashes, you lose less loot when you die. The overall death penalties are way lower, which are way harsher than L2s were. So there's even more benefit for you to flag up if you get attacked. And that was the whole point of the corruption system. Flagging up reduced all of your penalties, even below the normal green ones. A lawless zone just creates a place where you can be killed for free. That's not a risk, that's not a push for more a casual base or PvEer base to try PvP, because they will just be killed over and over and over again, as Vertex just said. So lawless zones go directly against the whole premise of the corruption, soft friction and whatever. Lawless zones are the hardest friction ever. It's a full stop on everything else in the world. The PvPers will all be gathering around lawless zones because, as you Pocket say, it would be a PvP magnet. And so now, any PvEer that might want to go there and try out maybe some new PvP would go against the hardcorest PvPers in the game. And so now there's the risk even higher, because for the PvPer, there's pretty much no risk. They came there to PvP, so it's the literal base existence in the game. They know that they will die at some point, so they don't really have loot on them. They are prepared in terms of like having money to repair their gear. They know what they're doing with their PvP skills against other people. All of that is just their base existence because they are PvPers. But if a PvEer comes there, they're not prepared for PvP. They don't know what to do against people. They might be even afraid of people, even though people are the same as mobs, even sometimes worse. But like the equation just doesn't match.
Yeah,
While in a PvX situation, corruption is a much better system because it not only gives a slightly higher benefit to the PvEer because they can always go away if they get attacked, but it also creates a much better risk-reward equation because the attacker still has at least some freaking risk.
Yeah, I do anticipate that the lawless zones are going to be overfarm content, and some people will go there, but most people actually, like, I think it'll turn into the caravans. People will just eventually stop going.
Pretty much, yep.
The other thing, though, on the corruption side of things, if I am moving like some like highly already processed materials from one node to another node, and somebody attacks me, I'm never going to flag up to fight that person, even though I lose less stuff. I would rather that person have a corruption stack that they have to worry about. I can't, right? If I think that I'm going to lose that fight, I'm just not going to do it, right? And
that's the point that I've been trying to hammer for the past like 5 years. The corruption balancing of gain of corruption and removal of corruption should be balanced in a way where the victim or the target of the attack doesn't really know whether their attacker will get punished or not. It should be on the higher chance, but still it should be unknown, so that in the target's mind, it should be the first is, okay, am I prepared to lose the stuff that I have on me right now as a green player or as a purple player? If I have say 6 legendary items, do I want to lose like 4 or 2 or something like that? So that's why the corruption should be balanced properly. And then if the attacker does have several PK counts on him, and then the risk is super high, and then he gets hunted by bounty hunters, and ideally, as I have suggested in the past, there should be a system where the victim could potentially even get their loot back. Like, there's so much depth in this system potentially. And then Steven just fucking adds lawless zones.
Well, really quick, before going too much farther in different directions, what do you mean by the victim or target shouldn't know if the attacker is going to get punished? Like, you shouldn't have an idea if they're going to get corruption points or turn
no. They always get corruption. As another thing that I've been saying, corruption
level 1.
corruption is always binary. If you kill the green player, you are corrupted. If you did the final hit and strike, you are corrupted. It's always binary. There's no like running up to corruption or whatever. You become red. What I mean by whether they get punished or not is the attacker, if they have no PKs on their character at that moment, because either they removed them through a difficult and expensive quest, or if they never PK'd anyone else, the amount of corruption that they get by killing someone of their level and ideally power level as well, but that's a whole separate issue, the amount of that corruption should be clearable within the amount of time that the victim would need to come back to the same spot from the nearest Ember Spring. So it could be like, ideally it should be around 3-4 minutes, I'd say, but that requires a whole restructuring of Ember Springs, and that's a whole other issue they have that I have also brought up in the past.
I mean, that's only as long as the blight stacks remain permanently on the character and never leave. If you can leave blight, then that sounds like a terribly abusable thing, because if somebody
they leave through questing. They live through questing, but that questing should be very expensive. It should involve returning something to the community, ideally to the node of the victims and stuff like that. So that if you do get into high blights, and by high I mean like 4+, you should return a ton of stuff. So for the attacker, it is the higher risk if you do go deep into murdering several people. That would be the balance. Yeah. But at any given interaction between an attacker and a target, the target shouldn't be sure that the attacker will definitely get punished for what they are doing.
So basically somebody just needs to farm people enough to get valuable enough goods that it doesn't matter, and that way they can run up and they can murder hobo somebody over and over while they're returning to try to get their stuff or whatever, because they're coming back from an Ember Spring, and by the time they get back there, the corruption is gone. And the person doesn't get long-term punished with their blight because they just take the money that they've earned from slaying people that whatever, or questing or whatever they do to get rich. I mean, people have a ridiculous amount of money. Some people do anyways.
I mean, the ridiculous amount of money comes from the systematic issues of economy and stuff like that should be solved by the lead econ designer that they haven't hired yet.
I want to clarify, they do have Rhett is their lead.
Well, yeah. He oversees the economy. Yes. But they are still hiring
the main direction.
Whatever.
That's his primary thing. Is econ.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
But no,
I looked back at the notes that I took, and they said that he's a lead systems engineer, but his primary role is focusing on econ while also helping out with the nodes.
Well, then I sure as hell hope that this upcoming stream shows some incredible changes to the econ, because the previous changes have not been so good. So that's a whole separate issue.
Honestly, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see, and this is something I just thought of, so I have no idea how mechanically well this would work out, or how abusable or how terrible it would be, but it sounds neat in my mind. What if the person stayed corrupted until the person that they killed recovers all of their lost experience debt?
Say again, sorry.
So the attacker maintains their corruption until the victim ends up resetting their state back to what they were before they got murdered.
Interesting.
That goes way too deep into the PK bombing abuse, because you can just taunt a ton of people, and I know that taunting into PKing is a whole separate issue, and I don't really agree with the PK bombing general topics as well, but still, if you can control the other player's status to that extent, that's way too much, because the target would just stand there, not lose their XP debt at all, and then you're permanently corrupted.
I also
I don't like that.
Sounds like some risk to your reward.
I agree, but then how much of a risk to the reward is it? There should be at least some balance, because if you are permanently corrupted until you die, however many times you would need to die, how much are you losing in terms of gear and all of that? The balance should be right in the middle, and I feel like full control of the other person's status is a bit too deep into the one side, just as lawless zones are too much to the PvPer side. I feel like there's still a middle ground in between those.
But see, that's the thing, is that if the corruption doesn't clear until the other person is made whole again, that legitimately, maybe that's a quest. Maybe you got to go on a quest, and you need to devote yourself to doing something to help the other person to get their experience.
That's why I had a suggestion for the deepening of the bounty hunter system. The bounty hunters should be the ones chasing the corrupted players. Then the bounty hunters return the victims' loot that the bounty hunter picked up, or at least just use, like, let's say, the head of the PK if they killed him. They return it to the bounty hunter system, and then this bounty hunter system pins the victims of the PKer that, hey, you can come here, you can pick up a boost of your choosing, so it could be a boost to our artisanry, it could be a boost to XP gain, it could be a boost to loots or whatever you want, but only one of that, and ideally pick up your loot if the PK picked it up. So pretty much the victim wouldn't lose anything as long as the PK got hunted by the bounty hunter. That was my overall suggestion, and it all could be done through the bag system, which they already have. So like they have all the tools ready to just play around with the game, but they went with fucking lawless zones.
Right, and Chibi, you were trying to say something?
Yeah, I was. Thank you. I was just trying to say, Vertec and I, part of the reason why we're even considering Ashes to begin with, and I think this is a really important point to make, is because like we prefer PvE over PvP. I'm not even super into open world PvP, to be honest, but it's because of the way that the corruption system was promised to be that allowed Vertec and I to be more interested in Ashes than we otherwise would have been. And it's because of situations that happen in World of Warcraft in like Badlands and areas where like you're stuck in an open world PvP section of World of Warcraft, and it doesn't matter what you do, and you can try and just run away from the person. Like as soon as you spawn, run to a different area. But a lot of those times they spawn camp that, and it doesn't matter what you do. You literally have to log out of the game or hope that you can hearth before they kill you again. And it's just, that's very frustrating as a player, right? So with the corruption system, that's supposed to give us a little bit of, not really leeway with it, but it's supposed to at least have there be consequences for doing that. And I mean, yeah, for some of them, they were like level 80s attacking a level 65, you know? So it's the corruption system would essentially like really play a role in that. And I do really like the idea of the more blight stack that you have, the more corruption you get per time you kill it. Because clearly you're not learning your lesson. You're still going corrupt. And on top of that, all of the other systems that like all the NPCs that won't interact with you, all the places where you can't deposit gear or items because now you're corrupted. Like I love the systems that are intended. I just would like to see it polished.
Okay, so I have had heated discussions. I've been yelled at by suspect guildies, like friends of mine and everything like that. We actually had such a heated discussion the other day that my wife came in and told me to calm down over this corruption system thing. I kind of like it where it's at, and I think that it's actually closer to the intention of what it's supposed to be. However, in this single time listening to Ludaloo, after I've argued with so many of my own guildies on this, but Ludaloo actually has a point that I really like, and I don't know. He just said nope to me, so I'm not sure if I'm wrong.
No, the nope was that I am not a nerd. You are.
I was like, how far did that say something? But okay, it makes sense. You scrolled up. All right, so what I was saying to you really quick, Vertec, is let's say that you are the first corruption kill that I do, and you are on a low-level alt, and you didn't really like rogue anyways, right? And I kill you, and you never work off that XP debt because you logged out of the game, deleted the character, or like let's say you don't delete the character. Let's say you just leave the game completely. Your character's still there. It lives forever, and I forever have corruption because you never worked off that. I think that'd be. And honestly, there are some people in the game that would they just want to watch the world burn, they would do things that they would corruption bait in such a way and do this sort of thing to intentionally interfere with other guilds because they don't.
Well, that's what. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like, you would have you could have a quest line or something you got to go do in order to like make amends, so to say, because that'll kind of fit in with a previous idea I had years ago, which is what if there was a traveling caravan of NPCs, and they would eventually, once in a while they'd make camp, once in a while you'd see them just traveling on the road, but that was the only quote unquote safe place for corrupted people to go, and you could go there and directly with a merchant buy or sell goods, and then
and I dislike that.
For one, it would draw corrupted people to it. So for one, if bounty hunters found it, they may spend their entire day just stalking that caravan or that camp and looking for corrupted players. But it would give corrupted players, for one, a place to go to actually do something with their gear, repair their gear if it gets busted up before they get uncorrupted.
The black
market. They might
market.
start fighting each other. Who knows? But that would be a big risk versus reward for that. But then also there could be a quest giver there that lets you work off your corruption based on like all the money you earn for the next X amount of time goes to the person that you slayed, or all the money, the items that drop that you pick up end up needing to be donated to that person, so you can work off your corruption that way. The experience gain, for that matter, goes to the person that you killed and gave experience debt to, if you don't earn it in another way or work off your corruption in another manner.
So the thing that I really like about the system, and I said it in chat multiple times, but I really like the idea, and it took Lulu to kind of explain it to me in a way. And my guildies actually are on the same page. They want to have like one free kill, and they want to be able to balance their own corruption and their own blight. And so they know that, hey, if I kill this guy, I have so much blight on me because I've killed like 3 people in the last 2 days that when I kill him, I am going to get like 400% corruption, and I will probably be level 4 corrupted because I have not made my amends of my character to that I am beyond like where it should be right now. Even at that point, even if you know your next kill is going to give you 400% corruption, you may not be corrupted at that time, but you know that you have not worked off, you've not done the grind that it requires. And so like the in-game kind of stuff where people are like, all I want to do is PvP, yeah, you can just go corrupt on people, but like at a certain point you're going to have to do some of that work to work it off. And it's actually a good incentive for PvP players to have to do work off that by doing PvE kind of stuff, because it's a loop they don't necessarily want to do, but if they're going
and
corrupt,
they're forced into it just as PvEers are into PvP.
And like I like the idea because like your first kill, it gives everybody one freebie, right? It could be an accidental one, it could be one that was intentional. Your first kill is 75%, and so the person that is being fought, that is staying white and they don't want to drop their stuff, they don't know if you're going to get the consequence of going corrupt for killing you. And so that's really going to incentivize them, depending on what they have, to actually fight back because they want to drop less of the shit they have on them. And so exactly. Like now there's a chance that they kill you and you go 200% corrupted because you have so much blight. But there's a chance that you don't go corrupted, and they don't know that, right? And so like that there incentivizes that other guy to fight back, and I kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I'm never gonna fight back if I'm out in the world and somebody just.
I know, like some people.
I'm never going to. So if you ever anybody out there, if you see the name
that's
Vertex
the risk for the attacker.
The world, and you run up on me,
that's the risk for the attacker.
Yeah. I'm just announcing it, like everybody. It's not a risk; it's a known factor. If you run up on me in the open world, and I'm doing nothing but minding my own business,
either 75%
you are getting corruption,
or whatever the
yeah.
Because I'm not fighting back. You know what?
I might empty bags. There's times that people attack me, and I open up my bags and I look to see what I got, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll attack them, And there's other times that I'm like, no, I'm not attacking for shit. You are going to go corrupt if you But like if I didn't know. There are times that I will have stuff in my bags that I'll at least fight. And so like, yeah, it's a really interesting, I like how the mental of that goes into that.
And just to
stop the CC,
really
like
pretty
new
bow on all of
stop the CC on unflagged Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of bugged stuff that doesn't work right now. Yep. But just to put a pretty bow on all of this, all that we have just discussed has been in Lineage 2 since the very beginning. Steven knew that, Steven tried to implement that, he has supposedly made the corruption punishment even harsher than it was in L2, which was at points quite hard on the PKers, and it's supposedly even harsher in Ashes. And all of that went to shit when lawless zones became a thing with open seas. So again, this is why I'm worried about where the game is going.
Yeah, well, here's a maybe a hot take. I don't know. If since corruption is supposed to be reduced down in the future, what do you guys think about when somebody in a party goes murder hobo real quick? The entire party gets corruption.
That's
I
too much
mean-
because that's too abusable. We have pugs. We don't have purely only constant.
True.
True. That would certainly get somebody
Any
a
pug would get
reputation,
completely
wouldn't it?
fucked over.
Devil's
would
advocate.
certainly
No,
be-
no.
that would-
You
that would
just get
certainly
it
get
out,
somebody a
you
reputation.
level
They
it
would-
up a bit, and then you spoil an entire party's time. Not only that, but you can directly ambush an entire party, because you have some friends that will come up to the PKers and just kill them for free without flagging up. That is way too abusable, way too abusable.
I think that will kill the Trinity system as well. Like, because already games, the biggest struggles is it's hard to find a healer, it's hard to find a tank. If you are required to pug and you don't know this person, it at a certain point that's going to kill the game later down the road. Now, I also come from WoW, where I was pushing rank and trying to get rank 11, rank 12, and in order between battlegrounds, we would go to the enemy places. You would go in a raid to kill people to get honorable kills. But the one thing that you never did was you never invited somebody that had nothing to lose, or somebody that wasn't pushing rank, because they would kill a citizen and that would give you a dishonorable kill. And a dishonorable kill was like insanely brutal. The rank grind was already brutal enough, but a dishonorable kill was beyond. And so like that sort of thing, the other thing that you would never do is if you were pushing rank, you would never go with a rank 14 that just got theirs, because they would kill all the citizens they wanted to, because the dishonorable kill meant nothing to them because they already hit that rank. And so I understand it, or like in the case of what we were talking about with like Lulu, right? Let's say that the shared corruption, instead of like your first kill being like the guy that gets a killing blow gets 75% corruption just like before, right? But let's say that everybody in the party gets 10% corruption for that guy killing in the party. Now, instantly, when he gets corrupted, you're kicking his ass out of the party and you're never inviting him back in, right? And so, like, Lulu, what do you think about that? 10% corruption as opposed to 75 for the first kill.
As I keep saying, there's no percentage in corruption. It's binary. You either red or not. So the percentage only comes in the amount of kills you've had on you. So if you had 0 kills on your character, you are still becoming corrupted. You are red on your first kill, but you just get, let's say, 100 corruption. And each mob kill removes 20 corruption. That's 5 mobs to remove your corruption. That's it. There's no percentages. There's no other that bullshit.
Lulu, let's get semantics out of the way here. If it takes 5 kills to go corrupted, you kill one person, you're 20% corrupted. The end. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, like I said, none of that shit. None of it. You kill a person, you are corrupted. That's it. There's no semantics. It's binary. You either killed them or you did not kill a person. That's it.
So what you're saying is the final designed idea is that if you kill one person, you go corrupted.
Always has been.
Okay, then how are they going to reduce corruption? Because Stephen was saying it's jacked up way higher than it normally should be.
Again, it's not implemented fully, unless I'm completely misremembering Steven's words. But I've especially on this system, I've been listening pretty freaking closely. He has always talked about it in the same way as Lineage 2 is. There is corruption, and there is the blight system, which in L2 was just your PK count, so the amount of PKs you had in the past. Corruption is a numerical value that you get per kill. And so, for example, in the L2 system, which again I believe Steven has been talking in this very context, it's just not implemented in Alpha 2 right now. Your very first kill, let's say, it gives you 100 corruption. It's 100 points of corruption for your first kill. You get 1 PK count, or I mean, let's say 1 blight. You can remove it by killing mobs. Let's say each mob removes 20 corruption. So you need to kill 5 mobs to remove the corruption that you right now have. You go to 0 corruption and you have 1 blight. Then you kill you PK another person. Now you have 2 blight, and now you have received, let's say, 200 corruption. Now you need to kill 10 mobs, and then it scales higher and higher. That's the system. It has just not been implemented at all.
So Lulu, I have a question, because what you said is the player that you are that like if somebody is killing you and you don't know that person's going to
you don't know their blight. You don't know their blight. They will be corrupted, but you do not know whether they will be killed by someone, and like if someone can restore your loot from them or punish them. Like the punishment here is killing the PKer, because that's the highest penalty to the PKer. What I'm talking is the avoidance of punishment if you manage to clear out your corruption by killing mobs. That's again, all of this has been the case in Lineage 2, and this has been the risk-reward equation there. And Steven pretty much took it 1-for-1 and has always explained it in the context of taking it 1-for-1 from Lineage 2.
So, like, when I say corrupted, I mean corrupted state level 1. So my question is, were you not saying that that me as somebody being attacked by somebody, that they may go red or they may not go red if they kill me and I don't fight back?
They 100% go red.
See that, then I disagree with you, and I'm back on my same page, because like if I'm being attacked and I know that person's going to go red, I'm not going to fight back. Now if he kills me and he just stays purple, then
no. But let's deconstruct this. Why do you care of him going red? What's the core purpose for you caring about him going red?
Because he may stop attacking me because I'm not fighting back.
Yeah, that's exactly
the second time.
If the attacker knows that they're not going to go red by killing you, why would they care? They're going to go ahead and kill you. But if you as the victim don't know the same information, that's why it matters.
Let's get to the core of this. Why do you think the PvPer cares about going corrupt?
He doesn't.
Because it's the anti-PK mechanic.
Again, why is it an anti-PK mechanic? I'm trying to get you into the mind space that I'm using, but I can't really explain it. So I'm trying to explain it through questions. Why do you think an attacker would not want to go PK or red?
Because they're going to be punished. That's why they don't want to go red, because they're going to be punished.
Punished through what?
The corruption system.
The corruption system, like whatever mechanics are in place for the corruption system.
What kind of through which way would this punishment come to them?
Okay, so hold on, because the corrupted player is fine going corrupted whether they want to or not. But like here's the difference. Like, let's say that person is going to kill somebody whether they flag or not, and they know that they have enough, they've worked out their blight, that this is a decision that they are making, that they know that their first kill that they do right now will not send them to a red state. But the person that they are attacking, their victim, if it's Vertec, he's just never going to fight back no matter what. And so he's just hoping that person is going to go red. But
you're going into the wrong direction. Again, answer my questions. Why do you think the person who's attacking someone, why do you think they are afraid of going red? What's
because
the punishment there?
Gear.
Okay, how do you lose gear when you are red?
When you die.
When you die.
Again, you die at the hand of another player, right?
Yeah.
Or a mob, supposedly. Okay, so now you can remove corruption by killing mobs, right?
Yes.
Okay, and now think about this. If you can remove your corruption by killing 5 mobs, and you have noticed
now
that
right there,
around
you should say like
there are no
say like
other
1,000 mobs, because like
Yeah, don't say
if
5
you can
because I'm totally against 5
by killing
mobs.
5 mobs, I'm corrupting all the
giving
time.
you an example of what I'm trying to explain. The 5 mobs I'm giving here is because my entire point is that the first kill is tiny, but but the corruption is still binary. That's my point of they would not receive the corruption, they would not receive the punishment for becoming corrupt, and the victim would not know that they have received whether or not they would receive the punishment. That is my entire point. So the attacker, let's say there is Vertic farming something. There is an attacker who sees Vertic being completely alone in this particular location. There are several mobs that are all equal in level to both Vertic and the attacker. And the Vertic and attacker are also at the same level. The attacker has no blights on his character. Now, the attacker knows for sure that he will become corrupted if he kills Vertic. He goes up to Vertic, he kills him, Vertic doesn't fight back because that's his belief. That's completely fine. The attacker knew that. Now, the attacker has a timer on him. He needs to kill mobs, enough mobs to remove his first blight corruption, which is a tiny amount of mobs. That's the entire point that I'm trying to make. The victim would not know whether the PKer will get the punishment for becoming the PKer. That is my point. Have you now understood it?
Yes, I understand that.
The corruption is still completely binary.
So
you are always red if you kill a green.
Now, this is where we change Vertec to me.
Okay.
If I have stuff on me and somebody starts to attack me, I am now Vertec because I will just let them kill me because I know they are going corrupted and they are probably going to get a punishment. Now, if I don't
where
know
is the
that,
probably coming from?
Hold on. If for the first kill that you have, and let's say you have to maintain your blight, right? For the first kill that you've done, because you have worked out you have no blight, this is the first PK you've ever done. If you are killing me, and it's pockets, not Vertec, and I don't know that you're going to go corrupted or not, I'm fighting you back. I have stuff on me, I don't want to drop, or I want to drop less of it. I will fight you back. And so like I think that's a better system because it gives the attacker the ability to balance their stuff. And now there's a chance that you have not worked off your blight and you have so much blight stacked up that when you kill me, you are going to get like 400% corruption. That's a choice that you make, right? And you might go to corruption level 4, right? But me as the defender, it actually incentivizes me to fight back depending on what I have and depending on like if I think that you're going to get corrupted no matter what. Yes, you may be able to work it off in time or whatnot, or you may not drop any of your stuff. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is if I know that you might actually stay just in a combatant state as opposed to going red, I will actually fight you back because I don't want to drop as much of my stuff. And so I think that's a better way to encourage the system, and it helps the corrupted person to actually work within the system as well and manage their own blight.
Really quickly,
I honestly don't understand your logic here. Why do you so strongly believe that a red player will definitely die if they have the ability to remove, like in this context, in the context of what I'm saying, if they have the ability to remove corruption fast? Why do you believe they will get the punishment? Yes.
Lulu? Keep that question in mind. Chibi wanted to say something real quick. You're gonna have to repeat that entire question.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't like interrupting. I also wanted to add, like, I really like how, depending on how big of a level diversity you have of you and the person that you're attacking, you gain like 2 stacks of corruption rather than just the 1. And it's one of those things where I said this in the chat, but I want them to put like a cooldown so that you can't just drop party real quick and have your party mates or your ex-party mates at that point just kill you down to get rid of your corruption, because that's one thing that, like, regardless of if you got corrupted, baited or not, that's what people do. They'll drop party, ask their party to kill them, give them back the stuff that they dropped, and they're done with their corruption as long as it was just corruption level 1. I like that it takes 2 deaths for corruption level 2 and multiple deaths going forward after that. I like that makes them kind of deal with the corruption consequence a little bit more. And I think that if they were to put a cooldown where you can't just immediately be attacked by your ex party right away, or some other way of making it so that they can't get attacked by somebody who's like a friend of theirs or a party mate, etc. Even if you drop that, there should be like a slight cooldown, maybe like a 5-minute cooldown. I don't know, something enough where it gives them like time to actually marinate in that consequence instead of just getting rid of it really quickly and not having to even worry about it. Because like, again, it doesn't even matter if you get corruption in the first place. They can just drop their party really quickly and then have their party mates kill them, and then they're back to not being corrupted anymore. And it's just, that's a little bit frustrating.
That's exactly why I mentioned the bounty hunter system, where only the bounty hunters should be able to kill PKers. Ideally, I'd prefer that system.
I don't think they should be the only ones able to kill PKers. But
at least loot, just loot. Yes, bounty hunters should only be the only ones to loot.
I like it better that you give the tools to the bounty hunter to make it easier to kill PKers. However, if somebody that is just able to see them out in the open world, like I don't want them to be on the map. I don't want them to be on the mini map. I want them to visually have to see them, identify them, and then chase them down, and then they should be able to get the loot.
Let me get revenge, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Let me rephrase what you just said, Pockets, in a more digestible way for everybody. If PvP is going to be the risk to anybody minding their own business, then anybody hunting down someone who murdered another player should be the risk for murdering another player.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I totally understand that position, and I held it for the longest time, mostly because that is exactly how it works in Lineage 2 as well. It's the entire village hunting the Frankenstein monster rather than the hunter. I mostly changed it because I want the bounty hunter system to matter way more, and especially I want it to matter in the context that I explained before, where the bounty hunter system would promote the returnal of the victim's loot to the victim. So instead of there could be the ability to say that normal people can kill the PKer, but then nothing gets returned. Let's say that something like that. So you can do the revenge, but you get nothing from it outside of the feeling that you got revenge on the killer. But the bounty hunter system, I just want it to work really well and to be respected by all sides of the equation, by bounty hunters, by BKers, and by PvEers, because the PvEers would believe in the bounty hunters' ability to return their loot to them if they got killed by the PKer. And the PKers must respect the bounty hunters because they will get chased down to the ends of the world. I mean, at least that's what I would prefer from the entire system.
Sorry, Noobtastic, that's wrong. Yeah. XP debt does not stop existing once you're max level. It absolutely still exists.
Yeah, that's something we've purposely clarified with Steven in the past. Yeah, stat dampening comes into play, and it can go up to 200%
20 only debt, no.
It's only experience debt, which gets you 20% stat dampening.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that personally. I want it to go higher.
Yeah, I don't like stat dampening. I'm being punished for being bad at the game.
It's the experience stat that gets you stat dampening. Now, let's say you're level 50, you get 200% experience debt, so you're 20% experience dampened. And then the next day, because you forgot, is the release of a new patch that gives you 10 new levels. Well, guess what? Now you got a level from 48 to 50 again, experience-wise, not actual level-wise, but experience-wise.
Or at least 49.
You can continue and gain actual levels.
Yeah.
Or 49 to 50.
You gotta go from 48 to 49 and then 49 to 50 experience-wise before you can continue from 50 to 51.
I don't think you can have more than your full XP bar, by the way, of XP debt. I personally have not tested this.
You only have one bar.
I think Vertic is confusing the 20% with the full full XP debt. I think you get the 20% stat dampening at full XP debt. I think that's what they meant. There's no 200.
Yeah, so 200% experience. I'll look it up on the wiki. I'll get the
check it. Maybe I'll get it.
It's like 200% experience debt and 20% stat dampening.
But how would we see 200% experience debt though?
You
have a red bar.
A different colored bar. You get a red bar and then it turns a different color after that, maybe when you get more experience set. I don't know. That's
But,
a
like,
problem for Intrepid to decide.
Should you be able to get a second level? Because that's essentially de-leveling you, and they said that they weren't going to do that.
No, but you don't lose your level. You stay level 50. You lose
I
20%
know,
of your power.
Yeah.
But you're saying if you have 200% or XP debt, that's the equivalent of having to go negative 100, go up to like your entire level once, and then do it a second time just to get unxp debted. And that is the equivalent at that point of literally having to level and then get rid of your XP debt. So in a way, yes.
No. I was wrong.
Okay.
The most recent quote, anyway, maybe it was 200% at one point. It's stuck in my mind, but the most recent quote that's marked up for Steven is 100% experience debt, and it will be roughly 20%.
20%, yeah. I think your brain just confused the 2 from the 20 with the 100%, and that's it.
Yeah, but they're going to scale together, though. So if it's 20% for max, it's basically 5% of experience debt equals 1% stat dampening.
Yep. So XP debt still matters, so you don't really want to have it on you.
I have a question, and I'm sorry, do you mind if I change the topic? Nothing wrong with your topic.
No problem at all. I've
rented
for like 2 hours.
I literally can't talk about it because I don't have enough, 1, knowledge, or 2, interest outside of the little bits that I gave. Then everything else is over my head. But
completely understandable.
I want to know, so Trial, TRYOL on Discord was asking... Steven, I've asked this a lot and I might be completely off, but is there any chance, and then it goes off, but Steven says part of the econ revamp is 3 tiers within grades. What does that mean? Does anybody even know what that means?
So
the same stuff we have right now.
Tiers within grades.
Yes.
So you can have, I'm guessing,
we have it right now.
Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, we just have it right now. We have several items that have a scale in level of power within the single bracket of levels. So there's like several level 10 items that have different stat values.
Okay. Is it kind of like PvP?
Sanctus short bow.
Pockets, is it kind of like the PvP tiers from World of Warcraft, where if you got a certain rank, you got like 1 ranking of gear level, and then the next achievement you got another ranking of gear?
No.
Let me phrase it in a way that a crafter might be able to connect it. So you know how you have the quality rating when you're crafting gear?
Yes.
And if you barely hit epic, you're at the base level of epic. But if you have higher quality rating, it gets you higher stats. So there's like 3 blocks within that. There's like 30%, or 0 to 30%, and 30% to 60%, and then 60% to 100%.
So a low heroic, a mid heroic, and an upper heroic, almost legendary.
I don't think so.
I mean, this is just drawing a vague
imagine
parallel.
them as separate items. Just imagine them as separate items.
Okay.
There's 3 levels within a grade.
No. We already have it in game. So like the 10 short spell bow, the TIN 10 short spell bow is a level 10 item.
Yeah.
Right? And the Sanctus is a level 10 item as well. And so, but the Sanctus is a little bit bigger than what a 10 short spell bow is. And that is a second tier up. And so we are going to have 3 tiers.
Oh, wait. Okay, hold up. Is it kind of like when you use your novice stuff to make an apprentice sickle? Or
novice and copper is what we have. We have 2 tiers right now. I think there's going to be a 3rd tier, novice, copper, and then something else before 10. And then 10 Sanctus, and then something else before level 20 is what I believe.
So
it's just going to be 3 stages instead of 2.
Again, theory crafted.
Ashen Hunt everything.
It's kind of like when you use the novice materials to make your sickle for the first time for apprentice, and then once everything's unlocked and you can get apprentice level materials, you can make a better version of that sickle with the apprentice level tool materials instead of the novice.
That's you going up in grade though, so no.
Yeah,
it would be like your very first sickle, the broken or whatever the hell it's called, that you get from the quest. The
Okay.
very first one. Then you get the some kind of novice one that's slightly better, and then the third stage would be you getting some new type, which is still not apprentice.
Yeah,
Right, right, that's what I'm saying.
Prior to apprentice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, both the sickles that I was just talking about are the apprentice, but one is made with novice tool materials to make it, and the other is made with apprentice materials.
No, they will all be made
if
with
they're all
novice. There's going to be
apprentices.
3 tiers for novice. There will be
That's
3
so
tiers
confusing.
for
Okay.
apprentice.
Okay.
But we already have that. It's just now 3 instead of what we usually have 2 at this point.
Yeah, see, I just look at whatever has the highest like stats on it, and I just go for that. I didn't even realize there was different like tiers or whatever.
That's the correct approach, but you supposedly shouldn't have the mats as easily for those items because they should still be
Because they're a
harder
higher
to
tier.
gain because they are supposedly the highest tier within your grade. Yeah.
Okay, is that what you're saying? Copper, because copper is like more rare. So something with willow and copper would be like an example of something that's a higher tier thing because it's rarer materials or harder to get materials.
So if it's
No.
willow and copper, it is an apprentice level because willow is an apprentice gatherable.
Oh, okay.
If it's copper only, that's a novice,
Novice.
Like, level.
I was just meaning like whatever is the novice equivalent. I don't think there's any novice equivalent trees that are as rare as copper is. I guess
It's not about the rarity itself. It's just simply about the power of the item. You could maybe use 1 copper for the very first item, 2 copper for the second item, and 3 copper for the third. It's all still copper, but the powers of the items are different. So they are within the same level grade, but they differ in power. That's the 3 tiers of power. And their cost is simply different because of the tiers of power. That's it.
I actually, Lulu, let me know if you have an answer to this.
What?
I would argue, Chibi, that an oak tree is actually more valuable than what copper is, not for its tier 1 usage, but for its tier 3
higher
usage,
tier.
'cause
Same with ash.
Like a dry oak wood is very, very valuable in tier 3s, whereas I think copper falls off in tier 1 and tier 2, and I don't think it has a use in tier 3.
I haven't gotten into higher level crafting, so I wouldn't know, and we don't know about the tiers that are upcoming, so yeah, don't know.
Yeah, so maybe copper actually makes a revamp back in like tier 4 or something. That's interesting. Yeah.
They've always said that they want to use items from all levels and tiers in the top level crafting. So I do expect all of them to matter.
I don't know if
as
it would
was
be
in Lineage 2.
I don't know if it'd be copper exactly that gets used in like tier 3 and 4, but like kind of like your
It's the
dried
pyramid,
oak. Maybe the dried oak would get used in higher ones. So you still need the oak from like tier 1 all the way up in like tier 4.
It's the pyramid of crafting. You build the base with the most basic items, then you craft better ones, those into higher. The crafting pyramid, yeah.
Okay.
Classic stuff.
Yay. But yeah,
the main issue with that pyramid is the stuff that people were talking in 2.5, where a sandwich required what, like 250 wood or some shit like that, right?
700.
Stuff like 700. Yeah. That's the pyramid that is way off whack on the balancing. That's the issue. And now just imagine a sandwich at level 50 that would require you to get like fucking 10,000 wood or something. That's usually the problem with having pyramids, so we'll have to see how they will address that, because ain't nobody getting 10k copper to build a singular freaking slab of piece of armor at level 50 just because you need 50k copper. So
Real quick,
it's gonna be difficult.
I want to touch on what Mr. Noobtastic just said. I don't, referring to Pocket saying love it, because the complexity is causing the recipe adjustments to take months. I feel like this is a multifaceted issue, though. It's not just the recipes. If it was just the recipes, I think it'd be faster. But what they found out was the core part of the recipes. I think they even verbatim had said last month on their dev stream when Rhett and I forgot the other guy's name. I'm gonna have to pull up my notes for that, but they were talking about how they realized as an entry level recipe, copper was going into like everything, for example, and that didn't really make it. That would be disgusting, Toast Deletes. but they didn't realize that like this entry level recipe that should be easy for anybody to craft was having so many high value items to it that was necessitated for other items, like other crafting things. So not only are they redoing all of the recipes, they're restructuring what are the base materials that go into entry level recipes so that it's alleviating the materials for the upper level recipes or the more important recipes that need those things. They essentially accidentally caused a lack of copper because everything needed copper.
And that's the problem of the pyramids, as I said. So yeah, you need the base items in all recipes, which means you need a shit ton of base items, but for some goddamn reason, Steven decided to not give us copper, zinc, or other rare, super basic level 1 items. So they, and again, this is the problem of supposedly absent lead design, econ, whoever they are hiring right now, because we don't have a full cohesion of the system. They are trying to fix the system from the top to bottom rather than from the bottom up. They are trying to fix it by changing the recipes up top. So I would imagine the pyramid goes away. So you don't need copper at the top, or you somehow need fewer copper at the top that you need at the bottom. Like, I am very freaking curious how they're about to quote unquote fix all of this stuff without a proper lead dev that would just say, okay, this is the system, this is how we're working it, and we are doing it till the very freaking best, and then we just slightly adjust it rather than change the entire damn thing for like the 3rd time in the last half a year. Oof.
I just also want to say, Mr. Newtastic says that's what I'm referring to. T2 is still reliant on the T1 items. That's why that's what's broken. I don't think it's broken. That's intended. Like the intended item is that when you get to tier 2, the tier 1 stuff is no longer useless to you. They want it to continue being useful. Now, maybe instead of making copper into ingots, I don't know what you actually put copper into, maybe you put them into fragments instead. And then that's a different, more higher level use for the copper.
So on that note, like here's where I think that their desire on that could go terribly wrong. How are you going to keep copper relevant in all tiers while still making it available for those who are currently existing in tier 1?
Yeah, that's the
without
issue
causing
of the
a shortage. Now, the only solution I've been able to think of so far is to make it so that you can take copper and trade it for a higher quality or a higher tier metal at a merchant somewhere. And let's say you'd have to take like 10 copper and trade it for 1, whatever the first tier is of the next metal. Is it 10?
That you also trying to solve this top to bottom rather than bottom to top. You are trying to address the issue from the higher levels of the problem rather than at its base. We simply need more fucking copper. It's level 1 resource. Why the hell do we have like 100 copper on the entire goddamn map? Oof.
We
just need more stuff.
This is where the treasure map system is actually a very
it is amazing.
In phase 2, I provided my guildies with over 2,000 copper and zinc to get like 3 metal workers.
Maps are definitely crazy for it. But Pockets, a counter argument to that. Why should a gatherer go for freaking maps instead of gathering what they meant to gather?
Okay, so hold on.
At level 0.
So, now,
I want to be a miner. I want to go mine some metals. Why the hell is there 5 spawns of copper on the entire map, while some dude with a map goes and gets 50 that I will not get in a whole day? You know, that's the problem.
Hold on. Because what are we in right now? We are in a Riverlands test. And how much copper should be in the Riverlands? Probably not a lot. We're about to get the Tabletop Mountains. Now, it is my guess that the reason why all of the nodes have kind of been moved to the node quarks and we've lost the open world gatherables where they should be is they are working on moving out to a more comprehensive test as opposed to a pure Riverlands test. And so I actually think that if you want copper, you're going to go up and spend some time in the Tabletop Mountains. And so why would they put more copper in the Riverlands, whereas opposed to opening up the Tabletop Mountains? And so this is where me as a player, I think I have solutions for problems that Intrepid doesn't even see the problem. And it's not that they don't see the problem. They hear the problem. They know that the players think that it's a problem, but they're like,
but they have a solution.
Just wait, I know what's coming around the corner. Just wait, embrace the suck, right? And like that's like I think that's what it is. And we all
ready for me to remind you of another problem?
Okay, go on.
Come on,
Here, let me remind you of another problem that's going to actually connect directly with that. And Chibi may have been thinking of saying something about this already right now. Steven's already said that different biomes and different regions are going to have different equatable materials to make the same items. So it's not always going to be copper. There's going to be another metal in some other biome that's going to be a direct correlation to copper and can be replaced in recipes to make the same item, but a different style. Now that's going to add extra complexity because now it's the same thing in a different area, but now you can't make the same recipe using a combination of the two different metals. You need all of one specific type of metal. So now you need to go and gather all of those in one area.
From when I was researching Star Wars Galaxy system, that's pretty much how their crafting system worked. So yeah, they Intrepid have referenced Star Wars Galaxies as one of the inspirations, and supposedly that should work like that in Ashes. Yes, that is true. So this then ties all the way back to countless previous discussions of bad communication. Just tell your players, we have this plan, we already have it all planned, reference the wiki for like a quick second and say, look at that plan, we are still on track on that. That is the reason why you have no copper in your game. Let's move on. That's it, you know? But people are crying about copper. All that crying has led to hastening of the development of pylons and the econ overall and stuff like that. So this is where I kind of refute your point, Vertic. If they do have a full solution within the plans, why the hell would they try to hasten the development of some of the systems purely as a response to crying feedback and whatever? They could just say, you do not have copper right now because this location will have a ton of copper and we are just going towards that. So right now we are working on getting to that region in like, let's say 3 months. So you just will have to live with the few copper that you have right now. That's it.
So I personally think
see it, and that's it.
I personally think the solution should be including everything that we've talked about today. Because there's tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tier 1 materials should just be everywhere, like you were saying, Lulu. Like, there should be a zillion of them. It should be easily accessed. Like, material costs of everything should be lower. And it should just end up being that you can find in a day of mining 170 copper, or 200 copper, or 250 copper. And what's that going to get you? It's going to get you a lot of novice stuff. It's going to get you a lot of novice stuff. But it's going to get you enough to make a decent number of apprentice, but not very much after that, because it's going to be stacking costs as it goes up, because you need more components from the lower tiers to make the higher tier stuff.
And also, don't
it's going to be balanced, but you
overall where nodes require these materials as well, in the thousands. So,
and that's where it's going to be interesting.
But that's exactly why the base pyramid should be like as freaking thick as possible, as wide as possible.
Yeah.
Chibi?
I think that I don't really have a problem as an herbalism like major profession.
Flax issues.
Flax has some issues, but not nearly as bad as like copper, you know? And
from some people I've heard it's even worse.
It depends.
I have a
Chibi was a flax magnet.
Keep going, Chibi. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I did for phase 2. I was herbalism and tailoring. So, I mean, I was able to find a pretty decent amount of flax every day. If I searched for it, I could probably easily come back with at least 20, 40 flax. If I didn't really search for it, I could still come back with maybe 10 flax. If I really, really like dedicated time for it, I could come back with close to 100.
So in week 1 of phase 2, I gave 600 flax to one of my tailors, and I gave 500 flax to my other tailor, because I was the farmer and I had poop. And the poop makes the flax. However, once you get to level 10, the farming, you require a freehold in order to farm bluebell. Now, right now, they also took all the bluebell out of the open world and all the bluebell farming spots and moonbell's farming spots. And so it's only on the node corks, I believe. And it's very limited. You see braidwood all over the place, and you think willow gets farmed pretty fast, but I don't see any bluebell or moonbell right now. And so I do think they're going to change that. Now, I've repeated this so many times recently. The systems that we have in game are there for a reason. And I think that rather than thinking certain systems are broken or certain systems are in a bad spot, we need to try and play with the systems that we have in a way to do it. And so like if flax is hard to find, maybe that's because they intend for the farming system to actually supplement that. If copper is hard to find, maybe it's because they're incentivizing us to utilize the treasure hunting thing to do that. If it's hard to get maps that are not restored, maybe it's because they want to incentivize us using the scribe system in order to do that. If it's hard to find PvP, maybe because it's when they want to incentivize us to use the caravan system to provide that. And so the devs in this game have given us so many systems and so many tools. The content is there and it's all over the place, but instead of it being handed to us or, you know, fed to us by a spoon, we need to actually create the content. And so they've given us all the tools, and like people have said that I'm a white knight for this game recently. I think that within the last few days, I need to become less doomer about this game, because I didn't even realize all the things that I used to think was this bad state. This is a bad system. Should be implemented this way. But instead, I'm like, wait, what if I'm looking at it the wrong way? And so like grumpy guy in our guild, he is tired of seeing trees spawning in the roadway. And he's like, the trees should not spawn in the roadway. Now, what if the trees are spawning in the roadway because the node is not upkeeping their lumberjacks? And what if trees should spawn in the roadway and actually block caravans from traveling easy if you are letting your node get out of hand and letting the woods overtake your roads?
How hilarious would that be?
What if it's not a dev issue? What if that's a citizen issue and you need to actually fix your roads? Why? Like, I'm so curious if this is the better way to look at things. And honestly, it's made my time in Ashes much more enjoyable to look at things in this light.
But that's all because you're a nerd.
Fair enough.
You look at it from the RP point of view, and it's a beautiful point of view to look at the things. But ultimately, you are just a nerd in the best way possible, while all the other people are normies. They should be told by Steven that the plan is coming along. This is the main points of the plan, and this is why you don't have parts of the plan right now. The normies will look like, oh, we are so happy that we know the plan right now, and we can relax, and that's it, you know. They will not have to become the nerds to enjoy the game because they know that they can enjoy it later.
What he was talking about isn't always just an RP thing, though. There is like econ that you can do. No. If you chop down things, it'll be slower to grow back, and so I could see that as implemented. Once that's implemented, yes, but I could see that being a symptom of that rather than just RP. Right now, it could totally be just RP. I totally
agree with that. Right now, it's totally RP because for sure those trees are growing there because someone on the dev team didn't quite correctly put the spawn locations and they maybe overlap with the roads or something like that. And right now, it's easier to just do RP and explain them away. But once they can confirm that, okay, we implemented a system where trees are growing in the roads because the node haven't upgraded the roads or the lumberjacks are not working enough, I'll applaud them for creating an amazing, incredible in-game system. But until then, it's all RP for nerds. Which I applaud because you can enjoy the game better than me.
Well,
yeah,
so much stuff.
Yeah,
and I know what you're about to say there, Chibi. So, like, one more statement before you do.
Okay.
So
You have been here
all
for
in
too
all,
long.
including everything that's been said on here, and even a comment, I forget if it was you, Lulu, or you, Pockets. I just kind of absorbed the meaning and moved on with my brain. But if Intrepid has something that they see going wrong or going awkward, and they know it's because it's not designed to quite fully function in a way that's acceptable in the first half of levels and at this stage of development, then I think they just need to say, hey, yeah, it's totally working as intended. It's just not in a functional state for this level range and this node tier.
Yep.
But
Better
if it
communication.
is something that they see that is broken because it's not supposed to be functioning that way and it should be more whatever, then yeah, at that point, then you react and you say, hey, we're doing an emergency patch to make it more tolerable for the moment. It's going to get changed in a major way as soon as we figure out a way to majorly fix it.
One thing that's been weighing on me this week as my final kind of thoughts is like I keep hearing Intrepid needs to have better communication. And it's one of those things where I think they communicate.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Kind of, but I think they communicate a lot. They talk a lot to us. Is it always what you want them to communicate with you on? Maybe not, but that's also like that's also like what do they call it? What is it called when you like look back on a situation?
Hindsight 2020.
Hindsight.
Yes. They say hindsight is 2020. And while you're in the moment, you may not think, hey, I need to tell them that the trees are not supposed to be growing here right now, or they are supposed to be growing here, because that's such a minute thing compared to the long list of things that they do want to make sure they communicate. So it's from my perspective, and I get your frustration. I'm not here to say like anybody's thoughts on Intrepid communicating things is incorrect. My opinion on the matter is I think Intrepid is talking a lot. It may not always be what we want them to talk to us about, but they are communicating a lot. I mean, Steven literally, he was responding to so many people over the weekend in Discord. Like Ash's moments, as Pockets picked out, they've had so many things pulled from Discord. Steven responded to me twice, like in Discord. And so he's being communicative, but it's just, it's one of those things, like it's so much easier for us to be like, well, you could have shared more information on this and you could have shared more information on that. There's a lot of we could have shared information. It's just, was that information pertinent in that moment for them to share? More pertinent than some of the other things. But I hear your frustrations. I understand your frustrations, but it's also really easy to throw stones from outside the house.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too terribly deep in the conversation on this type of stuff, but I do want to piggyback off that real quick, just to say, like, man, people who are saying that Ashes, the development of Ashes isn't receiving as much communication as transparent development should be receiving. I think people who are saying that are being a little bit excessive. Like, Intrepid's been incredibly communicative in so many different ways, including so many developers will randomly pop into like content creator channels at random times and just chill
Planet.
and hang out.
Hi, Corey.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Hey, Slurp. How's it going?
Hey, Slurp.
And they'll just randomly start firing off factoids and like talking about things that are going on that are happening like right there at the moment. Like, they'll start answering questions. I mean, granted, they don't answer every question, right? Because they can't. But they've been so incredibly communicative compared to any other developer that I've seen ever, especially at such an early state of the game.
Yeah.
Like, give them a break. Just because they're not giving you the information that you want or the depth of information that you want. I mean, what do you want? You want them to like literally give you access to their internal files so you can just like flip through every little file and look for all the data you want? No, that's never going to happen. They're not going to be that transparent, but transparent development would require that they just give everybody access to their internal files. It's not going to happen. So relax.
They should have one of the either GMs or mods or whoever try and compile all the Steven replies, all the dev replies in like streams and stuff, because all of that is important information and definitely a great representation of them communicating to their community. That is amazing. That is definitely, most definitely, way more than all the other companies do. But all of that is lost in the absolute noise of the internet. The majority of people will never know that. They will never know about some huge change that was announced by Steven in the middle of the night because he just came back from a meeting. So I feel like they just need to somehow concentrate that information and release it in a more official manner. Because as much as I love that Steven can answer people on Discord, no one will see that unless they go way out of their way to search for Steven's answers and look for very specific info. And I want people to understand.
Do you know how much those random impromptu visits are going to drop off, though, if they need to start collecting all those to
Cyborgs.
Like kick out officially? I think what needs to happen is, and we'll volunteer, we'll be the ones to follow the sword on this. If anybody out there, if you see a developer hanging out in a chat and they're talking about things and they drop a little knowledge bomb, send it to us. We'll make sure it ends up on the wiki. We will make absolute sure it ends up on the wiki.
Even a message like that would be great. Like even
literally like, ping us a picture of them chat, like what they said in somebody's chat on the stream. Like give me a full screenshot of the Twitch window. That's all we need.
Pretty much, yeah. Like some kind of notice from the official sources to say, hey, if you see one of our devs giving good information, relate that to Lex, to the wiki, to whoever, that we can compile it or they can compile it. So it's just gathered all together.
I just want to add, so, I want to add on to the, like, sometimes players, hold on, I have the ability to do this, Effusive Mind says, I think sometimes players just want more information about what specifically they should be testing most and providing feedback on that particular time. Honestly, here's my suggestion to you. Pocket's kind of already said it, but I heard Intrepid say they're struggling to figure out why caravans are poofing. You don't even have to get Glint to run a caravan. You can pay 10 silver, as Pockets did, and you can go from point A to point B. And most often times that I've noticed I've lost a caravan is around the time when it's being converted from land to water and back.
My caravan got stuck on a rock, and it could not get off the rock. And I had to actually relog to be able to get it unstuck. Wow. And so like it was a really interesting thing, and like it was outside of Samia's hope. So I've ran caravans there multiple times, and so like what I was saying is, if you don't know what you should be testing, just run a caravan. Now you may say, oh, I don't want to lose a caravan. Well, then you don't actually want to test that system. And so there are things that are there that and I know that I'm not the most degen on this game. I don't have as many hours as some people do. But I'm in the upper tiers of people that have time into this game. And so like, there are things that I have not done. I have not touched. I have not done quests. That like, there are so many things that you can test. So if you think you've done it all, you haven't. I guarantee nobody has done everything in this game.
Fresh off the PTR, sure. I got on. I did some PTR testing today while I was waiting for an episode to download so I can edit. By the way, we have our first drink video going live on Friday, and we have our segment from Maple going live on Thursday. And I just want to give a quick shout out while I see the name to Cyborgs. Cyborgs is actually the person whose thread it is on the recipe tracking. So
okay.
Yeah.
We chatted about that during that episode.
We did. It was I really liked it. So that segment's going out. I actually reorganized the segment a little bit more to make more sense, like go in order. But that's going out on Thursday around noon Eastern. But yeah, I just want to say, fresh off PTR today, they're adding a group ping option to the minimap. So if you're in a group, you can right click on the map to put down a marker, and you can left click to ping that marker, and somehow it'll let other people know. I didn't get any audible pings, but I did get a visible ping in the mini map where like it had like a little circle of where the ping is and then like an arrow, and it followed around the corners of the mini map depending on the direction I was facing to show me to go that way. So that needs more testing. I tested that for a little bit. There was already a couple of things that were broken that I was reporting. That's going to need a lot more testing that comes into it. All of the systems that they're talking about, like check the, like, here's fun fact. In our Discord, I worked through the effort to share patch notes, and the patch notes automatically come into the Discord. There's the Ashes patch notes channel. You could check that patch note, see what they've just implemented, and go test that system. Whatever it is that they just implemented. If there's, let me pull up Thursdays from June 19th. Processing fixed an issue that prevented characters from processing using materials of different rarities. I actually saw that issue a lot on the forums, or the Discord forums specifically. So, okay, there's an issue with the processing. I'll grab a bunch of common and uncommon daffodils and I'll process them and see if that's actually fixed or report an issue that I've noticed. And then you think of a billion different ways. Well, does it work if I share it into my warehouse? Does it work if I trade it to somebody? Does it work if, and then think of a few different scenarios. And that's how you actually test these systems. The marketplace fixed a bug that could result in characters losing mail from marketplace. Easy. Sell something on the marketplace to your alt for dirt cheap. It could be useless. Go buy it on your main and give your alt some money in the process. And now you're testing the bug that's people are losing mail from marketplace. There's like all of these things that like Vertec and I were a little bit more experienced with these because we've worked with like other companies when we lived in California to actually go and play test their games. But this is how I'm thinking about it. Surveying pylons. Okay, now they're tradable. Let me see how I can trade it. Let me see if it works this way. Let me see if it works that way. And I write down a bunch of different ideas. I will literally, if Vertec doesn't want to stream on Monday, I will literally have you guys sit with me and we will come up with 1,000,001 different things to go test. We'll go test it together.
Just at medium visual settings.
Yes.
I mean, shoot that over to us. I mean, if you pop in our Discord and just drop it in. Do we have a channel that you think would work best for that? Or
we have the what is being shared? Sorry.
So no. If you go, there is actually an Ashes of Creation wiki Discord. And if you post it in there, Lex is on top of it.
Yes.
I had several things that I had up.
Oh yeah, Lex is super on top of stuff.
Oh, I don't have a button for this, but Lex, we love Lex. We love the wiki. Go check out the wiki if you haven't. Honestly,
but the Discord, like if you have information that has not been updated on the wiki, that's where you go to get it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just offering dropping it to us because we can make sure that we Hound him usually is pretty on top of everything.
Okay.
But just in case, like, I mean, be another source to make sure we poke until it's up there for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I really agree with what Noobtastic said. It'd be really nice if they gave like a triage of things that they see as the most important that they need bugs and tests on. If they had like even one of their community managers say, hey, these 5 things are the most important things for us to get bugs on. Can you guys do these?
I agree.
That would actually give a lot of direction for the players that request for testing to be done. It does feel like we don't really have a direction, so.
The weekly Thursday update of the new patch, if it comes on the Thursday, they can just add like several lines. So we want you to test this as much as possible. Go.
I agree.
That's it.
2 things I want to say. First off, to answer Vertec's question, because I didn't get a chance to answer that question. If you do want to drop us stuff, because I love also seeing this. So if you ever just want to share any Steven stuff that is said, there's the community chat and Ashes chat. Both of those are just fine with me. Community chat is more like what the community is talking about in general. It could be RMT, it could be another game. But then like that game somehow, competing for Ashes, as long as it's like somewhat Ashes related or the Ashes community focus, I'm fine with that. And then the Ashes chat is like more specific, just Ashes chat. But the other thing I wanted to say is my only criticism as of late is I don't think that they're utilizing the PTR to its fullest extent. I would like to see, like, if they're having these econ changes, I would like to see them be able to take a portion of that and test those systems on PTR, since the PTR, as they've said verbatim themselves, is a more focused test. But that's why I look at the PTR notes and I go, okay, what are they testing on the PTR? That's coming to the live servers more than likely, and I wait for that confirmation in their patch notes. And then I know not all of you can see the PTR stuff, but I'm always happy to share that because it's a visual NDA. It's not a verbal NDA. So I can tell you like what they're asking us to work on. That I like doing that on Tuesdays. But I look at that as like what to expect coming forward for that week.
Yeah, the one thing is like Chibi and I can absolutely take it as a point of action to bring it up to Intrepid folks that'll actually be receptive to hearing stuff. I mean, not that any of them are not receptive, but those that can actually do something about it, to make sure that they try to put out like a top 5. But all of you have to promise that you'll actually make use of that, like heavily make use of that.
Yes.
That way it's not a waste of their efforts.
Yes,
So
because
if they put out a top 5, you're like when you're in the game, you're testing one of the top 3 at least, or the top 5 if the top 3 absolutely have no interest to you doing whatsoever, like counting blades of grass on the ground or something silly like that.
So on the flip side of that, I would say that like are you talking about like the PTR, or are you talking about the other? Both.
Like honestly, like I would love to see
if
they had a top 5 for the main server and top 5 for the PTR.
But see, if people are content just playing the game and testing the game and just doing their own thing, I think those people should remain. Now, if you are somebody that says, I don't know what I should be testing, I think that top 5 should be mostly for you. Now, if you're somebody that just enjoys playing the game and you're like, well, hey, I noticed this is on the top 5, they need this. Hey, I'm going to try that system because I haven't done that yet. Like that would be okay, but I don't think it should be like, oh, that no. test Caravan, so everybody on the server.
I think what Steven, I think what Vertec is trying to say is the people in our chat, if they are asking for these top 5 things, and Vertec and I go to the powers that be, you know, the devs, and use our influence and let them know that this is what the community wants. We're asking you guys, please then utilize that system. In our chat specifically, those of you that are asking for this.
It'll take them time to work out what that top 5 is every week, 2 weeks, month, whatever it is.
Honestly,
so just to make sure their time is actually effective, like they're going to need to see like a decent bump in activity in that area if that needs tested.
To Vertec's point, but it's kind of on the opposite side. I remember when Nyx was posting, hey, what are your top 5 issues with the PTR right now, or with the with Ashes right now? I loved when they asked that. I think that was great because they're getting insight from the players on like what the biggest problems are, and I was able to give answers on a couple of those, and people were like, yeah, I completely agreed with your answers, and that felt great. But that was great just to have the dev be like, what do you guys think the issues are? We as the community would like that in reciprocation, I think. And I agree too, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to test. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and stream. Didn't work for at least an hour. I'm going to try and stream Ashes, and I'm going to go through the questing in the new area. And I'm going to work on just understanding what the initial quests are and see how that feels for me. Did that time that I took, minus the part where I was fighting the stream so that I could actually stream, that I did the quest, did that feel like adequate time compared to if I just gone out and grinded? Because to me, that's what's important for me. So I had fun with that. We had a group of you guys. We went out. I fought upwards. There was a group of us that are like level 5 fighting an 8 1-star and dying to it, but going back for a second and getting it finally. And it felt good. I liked it. Bunch of nerds. You're the nerd here.
Bunch of nerds.
I didn't realize you guys were curators on the wiki Discord.
No.
So like you guys are like no wonder you're saying give it to us, like because you're like okay.
Fun fact: if you go and look at the Forsaken Blade spellbook, that picture is mine. And also I give Lex sometimes, like when we have those really long streams, I'll give Lex a copy of my notes.
Yeah, I actually like the men change. I found that in like 0.25 seconds on a live stream, and I sent it to him, and within like 20 minutes, it was already up and posted. And I'm like, holy cow, that's crazy.
Lex is a maniac.
Yeah.
Like,
He is.
Yeah,
He
he's
is.
Lex is a maniac. Like it's bananas. Like the times that I've found just something with the wiki, and I'm like, hey Lex, there's an issue. Totally didn't expect him to be on it like at all because of the time of day, and it was like an hour later he was like, what? Oh yeah, oh shoot, yeah, done. But it was like it was literally like X o'clock in the morning. Like
now that we have the game, but all of us that stuck on that wiki and did nothing but like digest the wiki, like Lex was on top of everything. So.
Yep. Yeah. No, literally, it's you could barely go like 12 hours later, not even, maybe 4 hours later, 5 hours later, and there's stuff on the wiki from the live stream. Watch this Friday. Watch. That's all I'm gonna say. But hey, you know what? Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys in the chat for like bringing your questions and stuff. And thank you, Lulu and Pockets. I know I stole you away from whatever work you were doing. But honestly,
my wife would have yelled at me, so I finished it.
Honestly, thank you so much for taking the time and being a part of it. Actually, can you guys go ahead and share your links because you both stream?
Pockets.
I'm typing out. You go first. You go first.
You typing? Leave me alone.
Damn.
Yeah, Vans.
Does this work?
Yeah, that
on
works.
YouTube as well?
Yeah, I can send it over to YouTube if you want.
No, I mean the same on YouTube. Ludulu YouTube as well.
Oh, okay.
That finds me easily.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna share it over to the YouTube chat. I know, the gasp.
The gasp.
But yeah, so as far as I know, Mr. Dutastic, let me tell you, if you can help Intrepid solve their issue with caravans, Vertex gonna be your biggest fan. No lie.
Yeah. I've found that I lose caravans most often when I am Vertec.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost more caravans than I've completed, and I have lost more caravans to bugs than I have to players. But I think I've turned in, and this is like honestly not even exaggerating. I think I've turned in 3 and lost like 8. So I hit a point where I'm like, I just don't have the funding to keep testing this. Like, I just don't. I'm a tank as well.
It's 10 silver.
I'm a tank.
Thank you. Effusive mount.
High
actually,
Pockets.
So, do you know how much I made running my empty caravan and paying each defender 15 silver the other day?
5 gold because somebody fought you, and they gave you 5 gold after.
Like, I made 5 gold out of the whole ordeal. So, even as a tank, you can run an empty caravan and you might actually get some money out of it.
But yeah, so that's their links. You should go check them out. They both stream. Literally, I think is a little focused on Dota that's actually boats right now. And
yes.
and Pockets.
Although now it's more about rematch because my MOBA is dying.
Sadly.
I do plan in July to go deeper into Ashes. I want to try approach of playing L2 style.
Okay.
Not caring about anything and flagging on anyone who is farming the same spot as me.
Okay. So if that's the kind of content you want to see, go check him out for that. And Pockets is no living Ashes lately because he's on summer vacation. And I literally asked him when he was going to go live on Monday because I needed to do some work and it was really boring because nobody else was actually in work. They're all on vacation. So I was like, please go live.
So when you going live on Monday was Monday?
Yeah,
that was the answer.
He was live for a pretty long time, and that's when we were like listening. I was listening in on a lot of that stuff. But if you like this kind of content, this is our Tavern Talk. I can't really explain it better than just showing you guys. This is just hanging out in the tavern, chit chatting about Ashes. As you see, it goes all sorts of way, but we are always respectful here, regardless of your viewpoint. You could really dislike Ashes as long as you're keeping it respectful. We don't mind. That's fine. You can tell us why you dislike Ashes. We might try to change your mind, but just because we like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to try and change your mind. That's a given. But
yeah,
if we don't, I mean, you've heard all four of us disagree with other people about something at some point throughout even today's conversation, let alone when it gets.
I even disagree with myself.
Yeah.
I do think where we
Welcome
all
to
agree
Lulu life.
is there should not be lawless zones. I think all four of us we all agree in some extent on that, and so, but that's actually interesting that we had like zero disagreement in that issue.
Yeah. And Toast Delete says, yeah, they like me and I'm polar. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the other thing. If you fight us in game, I'm going to get mad at you. But if you come into our chat,
Noobtastic.
I will.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at that. Noobtastic and Pockets are like mirroring each other.
Wow. Kind of almost the same emoji too.
Lloyd's one of our favorite. Yeah, Lloyd's one of our favorite people around, and he's polar. So
I mean, that being said, we also like people that are in Aura. So, like, I was gonna say,
like is even more a stretch because they massacred my only freaking caravan that I had with a ton of newbies, and they killed them all.
Aww.
So yeah, like about Aura is a very big stretch, very big, very big.
But like I was saying, basically, you could be mean to us in game, but if you pop into our Discord or in our live stream or our Discord, I might still grumble at you in the Discord, but at least in the live stream, outside of some pokes, we're never gonna treat you any differently than if you hadn't attacked us. Might be like, yo man, that sucked, but like leave it at that. Hey, I made it to a live. Nice.
Yeah,
welcome. Yes, we are on our way out. The VODs will be up. We are on both YouTube and Twitch. That being said, our YouTube channel is same tag at TGF Tavern. And again, I want to remind you that we have two videos coming out this week. Bonus release this week because I was sick last week, so I missed the window to put up one of the videos. But we have one coming out on Thursday with Maple, and that's going to be on the recipe tracking and quality of life features for artisans. And then the one on Friday is going to be the official video for the critical hit cocktail. That's coming out kind of later on Friday, so you have a nice cocktail to follow or a story to listen to before you get the cocktail recipe. And that was live streamed on Sunday, and I finished editing it right before the stream. So that's going out Friday just in time for you to have a nice cocktail recipe for your weekend to then hang out with us on Saturday for our subscriber only stream, my subscriber only stream, or Sunday for our summit with Pockets and a variety of others. And now that I got all of that spiel out of the way, if all of this sounds very interesting to you and you like our vibe, please consider giving us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitch. And if you really want to support us, there's a plethora of ways that you could do that. You could be a Twitch subscriber, a YouTube member. We have a Patreon. We also have a membership within the Discord. All of those give you access to our little Discord patron only section. We wanted to make sure that we brought everybody together because we like community. And so if you haven't already, sync your YouTube or your Twitch with your Discord to make sure you have access to that area. And now I'm going to stop talking and let Vertec take over.
Yeah. And by the way, we could probably bring everybody over to Demon Soul after this.
Yeah, I was just going to go look.
Since we visited him.
Demon Soul is one of our guildies. By the way, in case you didn't know, we are part of the Nexus Guild.
And feel free to, when we get over there, by the way, feel free to haunt him about playing Ashes, because I think he's pretty much there. Like he's gonna play some Ashes. But
he is on board. He's struggling to have funds to afford a key.
Oh, well then, help us get him a key.
Maybe that could be something we could do.
Yeah, that can be a future goal for us. Get up money and just buy him a key. Once they put that stuff up for.
He's playing Phasmophobia,
for sale right now.
So maybe I could play Phasmophobia to earn money to get him a key.
There we go. But either way, everybody, thank you for spending your time here, especially to you, Lulu, and you, Pockets, who actually joined us inside the Discord to chat. Our Tavern Talks would be nothing without you. We try to make this a very taverny, welcoming, chill chat where we sit around, we have some drinks, and we chat some things.
Invisible potions.
I had drink. Yeah, invisible potion. Is this one invisible? No, this
It was invisible for right there.
From time to
See,
time.
yeah, it's just cutting it out is all.
Okay. It's because, by the way, I'm in a hotel room because I'm traveling right now. But
Yeah.
work sucks. I know. But yeah. Either way, you guys joined us and you were chatting and we were doing things and talking about stuff, and that's amazing. Everybody who's in chat, thank you for keeping it lively. Thank you for asking stuff and saying stuff and poking
Being
at
here.
us and being sarcastic because we love it. You're
Yeah.
here. You spent your time here. Time spent does not receive refunds. It's gone.
Sorry.
It's gone. It's your most valuable commodity.
Aw.
We wouldn't refund it even if we could,
Yes.
but we can't. So
sorry. And we're running out of time.
spending it here. We are.
We'll see you guys
Using
next
brain.
time.
Everybody take care. We'll catch you on next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.